19, 1972 version from prabhupadbooks.com. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.21. So let me share my screen here. Here we are. Okay, Ishan Prabhu, can you start, Prabhu?
Yeah. Let me grab a pair of glasses.
Sure.
I'm blind without them. Okay. Tvam atmanatmanam avehyamogadrik parasya pumsa paratmana paramatmana kalam ajam prajatam jagata shivayatan mahanubhava Bhudayo Diganyatam. All right. Hare Krishna. Tam, yourself, Atmanam, Atmana, by your own self, Atmanam, the super soul. Avehi, search out, Amogadrik, one who has a perfect vision, Parasya, of the transcendence, perfect vision of the transcendence, Pumsa, the personality of Godhead, Paramatmana, of the Supreme Lord, Kalam, plenary part, Ajam, birthless, Prajatam, having taken birth, Jagata, of the world, Shivaya, for the well-being, Tat, that, Maha Anubhava, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Abhyudaya, the pastimes, Adhi Ganyatam, Adhi Ganyatam, describe most vividly. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Your goodness, I believe your goodness has perfect vision. You yourself can know the super soul personality of Godhead because you're present as the plenary portion of the Lord. You yourself can know the super soul personality of Godhead because you are present as the plenary portion of the Lord. Although you're birthless, you have appeared on this earth for the well-being of all people. Please, therefore, describe the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, more vividly. Okay, purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Jai. Srila Vyasadeva is the empowered plenary portion incarnation of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. He descended by his causeless mercy to deliver the fallen souls in the material world. The fallen and forgotten souls are detached from the transcendental loving service of the Lord. All the Vedic literatures, therefore, are put into systematic order for the benefit of the fallen souls. And it's the duty of the fallen souls to take advantage of such literature and be freed from the bondage of material existence. Although formally Srila Narada Rishi is his spiritual master, Srila Vyasadeva is not at all dependent on a spiritual master, because in essence, he is the spiritual master of everyone. But because he's doing the work of Acharya, you sure we didn't do this verse before, right? Because he's doing the work of an Acharya, he has taught us by his own conduct that one must have a spiritual master, even though he begot himself. Lord Sri Krishna, Lord Sri Rama, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all the incarnations of the Godhead, they all accepted formal spiritual masters, although by their transcendental nature, they were cognizant of all knowledge. In order to direct people in general to the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, he himself, in the incarnation of Vyasadeva, is delineating the transcendental pastimes of the Lord.
Ishan Prabhu, you're right. We have had read this already. So let's move on to 22, 1522.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. There we go.
Should someone else take a turn? Someone else?
Rupa, can you, Prabhu?
Sure. Text 22. Idam hi pumshash tapasha shrutasya va svistasya shuktasya cha buddhi datayo avichuto rata kavabhir nirupito yad uttama shloka gunanuvarnam. Synonyms. Idam, this. He, certainly. Pumsha, of everyone. Tapasya, by dint of austerities. Shrutasya, by dint of study of the Vedas. Va, or. Svistasya, sacrifice. Suktasya, spiritual education. Cha, and. Buddhi, culture of knowledge. Datayo, charity. Avichutaha, infallible. Artha, interest. Kavibi, by the recognized learned person. Nirupitaha, concluded. Yat, what? Uttama shloka, the Lord who is described by choice poetry. Guna anuvarnanam, description of the transcendental qualities of. Translation. Learned circles have positively concluded that the infallible purpose of the advancement of knowledge, namely austerities, study of the Vedas, sacrifice, chanting of hymns, and charity, culminates in the transcendental descriptions of the Lord, who is defined in choice poetry. Report. Human intellect is developed for advancement of learning in art, science, philosophy, physics, chemistry, psychology, economics, politics, etc. By culture of such knowledge, the human society can attain perfection of life. This perfection of life culminates in the realization of the Supreme Being, Vishnu. The Shruti therefore directs that those who are actually advanced in learning should aspire for the service of Lord Vishnu. Unfortunately, persons who are enamored by the external beauty of Vishnu Maya do not understand that culmination of perfection or self-realization depends on Vishnu. Vishnu Maya means sense enjoyment, which is transient and miserable. Those who are entrapped by Vishnu Maya utilize advancement of knowledge for sense enjoyment. Sri Narada Muni has explained that all paraphernalia of the cosmic universe is but an emanation from the Lord out of his different energies, because the Lord has set in motion by his inconceivable energy, the actions and reactions of the created manifestation. They have come to be out of his energy. They rest on his energy, and after annihilation, they merge into him. Nothing is therefore different from him, but at the same time, the Lord is always different from them. When advancement of knowledge is applied in the service of the Lord, the whole process becomes absolute. The personality of Godhead and his transcendental name, fame, glory, etc., are all non-different from him. Therefore, all the sages and devotees of the Lord have recommended that the subject matter of art, science, philosophy, physics, chemistry, psychology, and all other branches of knowledge should be wholly and solely applied in the service of the Lord. Art, literature, poetry, painting, etc., may be used in glorifying the Lord. The fiction writers, poets, and celebrated literateurs are generally engaged in writing of sensuous subjects. But if they turn towards the service of the Lord, they can describe the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Valmiki was a great poet, and similarly, Vyasadeva is a great writer, and both of them have absolutely engaged themselves in delineating the science, the transcendental activities of the Lord, and by doing so have become immortal. Similarly, science and philosophy also should be applied in the service of the Lord. There is no presenting dry speculative theories for sense gratification. Philosophy and science should be engaged to establish the glory of the Lord. Advanced people are eager to understand the absolute truth through the medium of science, and therefore a great scientist should endeavor to prove the existence of the Lord on a scientific basis. Similarly, philosophical speculations should be utilized to establish the supreme truth as sentient and all-powerful. Similarly, all other branches of knowledge should always be engaged in the service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, also the same is affirmed. All knowledge not engaged in the service of the Lord is but nescience. Real utilization of advanced knowledge is to establish the glories of the Lord, and that is the real import. Scientific knowledge engaged in the service of the Lord and all similar activities are all factually Hari Kirtana, or glorification of the Lord.
Charge. Amazing purport Srila Prabhupada has given, huh? He's,
Yeah, truly amazing.
he's classifying all the materialistic activities, and then he's giving a solution that all these things should be utilized in, what's the last verse here? In the glorification of the Lord.
Hari Kirtana.
Yeah. Let's see here. Ishan Prabhu, anything that comes to mind, or any
Sure.
realizations you'd like to
You
share?
know, you know me,
Prabhu?
of course. So why? The question is why? Why so much research, so much science, so much philosophy, so much improving the this and that with technology, so much everything? Why should everything be used simply for glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Why? So we have to understand, because after all, they're all trying to improve our lives, aren't
Yes.
they?
Yes.
We have a new something is new every moment today. New telephone. They don't call it a telephone, it's a smartphone. It's smarter than many of us. So many technological advancements, so much research in science for medicine, so much research for sociology, so much political science, so much, and people are writing novels and they're producing movies like crazy, hundreds of movies for people's entertainment. It should make us all very happy. But the basic understanding, and of course I know that most of us here, we know these things, but still we repeat this philosophy that Srila Prabhupada gives us repeatedly. That there, with all of our desire to improve everything and make everything perfect, there are 4 problems. And those 4 problems they are not addressing. The real problems of life are that we take our birth, we grow old, we become diseased, and we die. And we do this lifetime after lifetime within the material world.
Jai.
And unless and until we find a way how to break out of this cycle of birth and death, all of this research, all of this poetry, all of this movies, all of this new gadgets, all of this improvements in medicine and this and that, and is all completely useless. Completely useless. Because
Completely.
the real goal, all in favor, say aye. The real goal is, how do we break out of the cycle of birth and death? So the answer is given by glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by hearing and chanting and remembering Hare Krishna, by hearing and chanting and remembering, we become purified. I was reading today and discussing today that love is the inherent quality of the spirit soul. And it's not that something has to be added to us as we advance in Krishna consciousness, but it's rather the business of uncovering what is already inside us. So what is that covering of this love that we have? Is written in our book, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that Srila Prabhupada explains when the spirit soul comes in touch with the material energy, the material nature, specifically the mode of passion, Rajagun, the love of the spirit soul, it takes on another quality, just like water is clear. But if you put in some red dye, the water becomes red. The water is still there, but it doesn't appear the same. In the same way, our love, when it comes in touch with the mode of passion, it takes on a different expression. And what is that expression? The expression is, well, Srila Prabhupada explains more in that 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that this, when the love becomes expressed in a self-centered way, that one acquires the conviction that I'm this body, and that by satisfying my senses, this is the goal of life. We have this very deep conviction, and we act on it continuously, all of us, if I can have this, if I can have that, if I can eat this, if I can eat that, if I can be warm, if I can be comfortable, if I can whatever. We have this very deep conviction, and that is the influence of the material nature on the love. It's the same love, but instead of it being directed towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it's directed toward my senses and for enhancing my false ego. Then I have status in society, I have good education, I have a degree, I have a good job, I have a nice house, I have a good family, and all of it at any moment is gone. And we're still repeating in the cycle of birth and death. So how to end this terrible predicament that we're in? That is, that if we are exposed to, or we hear, chant, and remember the activities and the name, the fame, the form, the pastimes, the paraphernalia, the associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this love for him becomes gradually awakened. It's a purification process. The love that we have is now adulterated. It's the same love, but it's, what's the word? Contaminated. It's contaminated by association with the modes of, and influenced by the modes of material nature. And when that same, our consciousness is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord by hearing, chanting, remembering, this love now becomes purified again and reawakens to the fact that why is it that way? Why is it that way? Why can't we be satisfied without loving Krishna? Why can't we just enjoy? It is explained that what we really are, what is my identification? What is my real self? My real self is that I'm part and parcel of something bigger than me. I'm a little part of something big. I'm tiny, infinitesimal, and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, is inconceivably great, infinitely great, and I'm part of him. And the relationship of the part to the whole is to serve that whole. Just like if we were all leaves on a tree, infinite number of leaves, and each leaf is trying to please itself, and the odd leaf is trying to water the other leaves. And none of them are getting what they need. But if one leaf waters the root, all the leaves, all the twigs, all the branches, all the fruits, all the flowers, they all become nourished. It's the highest welfare work, and it satisfies the individual at the same time. So this is the purification. This is why we can only be happy when our loving propensity is engaged toward the service of God, towards the service of the Lord. And there's no other way to be fulfilled. And that, so
love of God.
Yeah, love of God. So how to establish? So the formula or the prescription is being given, that by hearing, chanting, and remembering the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, our natural loving propensity becomes awakened again, so that is directed toward the source of all of our existence in a way that fills us with unlimited satisfaction. And not only that, for the first time, because no one can be satisfied in the material world. Even the multi-billionaires can't stop trying to make more.
Yeah.
No matter how much they have, and no matter how much they do damage to the environment, and no matter how much they exploit people, And they are madly obsessed to get more. Why? Because no material thing can satisfy the spirit soul.
Joy.
So the only way we can have satisfaction is in our proper relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are spirit and he is spirit. And by trying to have a relationship with matter, matter cannot reciprocate our love, our affection, our attachment. Matter is dead. So this is being discussed and described and instructed and pointed out that by hearing, chanting, and remembering, we rekindle, reawaken our loving propensity, which is now mistakenly misdirected towards material things, and the subtle sense of self, which is false ego, can never satisfy ourselves, but our loving propensity becomes gradually awakened, and we begin to taste that fulfillment that we're searching for at every moment in our life. We're always looking for fulfillment in 1,000 million ways. But this is the only way we can get it. And when we get it and get a taste of it, we want more of it. Then we're on our way. We're safe. It's a long road, and there are many stages. But this is the science of Krishna consciousness, and you will not find it in any other religion. Like Srila Prabhupada says, in America, they say, in God we trust, but they know nothing about God and what to speak of trusting him, Srila Prabhupada says. But we have God's address, we have his telephone number, we know all about his pastimes, we know what he likes, we know what he doesn't like, we know how he looks, we know what he wears, we know his pastimes, we know his relationships, we know everything. Therefore, we're equipped to develop our affection for him. We understand what is God, and we can trust God. And God, we can learn that by loving him, we become fulfilled. We can learn that. Then we have trust. We have trust, and we try to put our trust in so many things in the material world, but always disappointment. And no matter how good it gets, we can't keep it. So this is Krishna consciousness, is simultaneously the path of individual upliftment and the highest welfare work we can do in this world is to help other people to understand that this is their real business as human beings. Otherwise, they're no different from the animals, eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, repeating the cycle of birth and death. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Haribol. Mahaprabhu, welcome. Can you unmute yourself?
Thank you so much for having me.
Mahaprabhu, Ishan Prabhu. Mahaprabhu is one of the devotees that works at Costco. He and Narayan had many wonderful conversations, and Narayan Prabhu invited him to our Zoom meetings, which Narayan Prabhu started. We all were gathered and discussing philosophy. So Mahaprabhu is coming from there. He recently had his dad pass away, right, Mahaprabhu?
That's correct. And my sister 12 days later.
12 days later, then Narayan Prabhu.
And then Narayan Prabhu.
So this is what Ishan Prabhu is talking about, that this cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease is coming for all bodies, no matter what body you belong to. And this Krishna consciousness, science of Krishna consciousness, the whole package has been given by Srila Prabhupada, and how to utilize and advance this human form of life towards the ultimate goal. Yes, Ishan Prabhu, you wanted to say something?
Hare Krishna.
No.
Okay.
No, thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So, Rupa Manjari, any comments? We have Vinayak Prabhu from Japan or India.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Jai, Vinayak Prabhu.
Nice to see these East Gostis. And so I want to ask about a thing like recently I visited a few dhamas
Hmm.
and I was in Vrindavan. So few devotees are there like who have been in association with ISKCON and in Prabhupada Anugas also. So they usually claim this thing that the thing that Prabhupada gave us is a kind of graduation. And if we want something higher, if we want something of post-graduation thing, then we must go to these other saints of Vrindavan who are giving them some higher rasas or some higher entry into the pastimes and all these things. So, is there like I know the answer, but I wish to hear from devotees like about their opinion on this subject. That why some people feel like this and why there is a kind of dissatisfaction while being in association of Srila Prabhupada's books and all these things.
So Ishan Prabhu, I think Vinayak Prabhu is hinting towards the living. Everyone is looking for some sort of living body or some sort of association and this and that. So they're bewildered by, I think, this understanding that Prabhupada was a conditioned soul, and he. Go ahead, Ishan Prabhu.
I think you're just a little off, not understanding exactly what Prabhu is saying.
Hmm.
He's saying that there are people who are making propaganda
Okay.
that Srila Prabhupada only gave us the ABC, the basics, and there's much higher things, and that we should try to associate with people who give us these much higher things. That's what I think Prabhu is saying.
Yes.
And what do we think about that? So
Yes.
Srila Prabhupada is giving us Krishna book, 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in which 90 odd chapters, I think 91 chapters of Krishna's pastimes in great detail, Krishna's relationship with his friends, with Mother Jashoda Nanda Maharaj, with the gopis. Everything is there. Krishna's other pastimes in Mathura and Dwarka, Krishna's and Bhagavad Gita, that no one has presented Bhagavad Gita as it is to the whole world, but Srila Prabhupada has done that in a beautiful way. And then he's given us the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how he is distributing love of God by taking the role of a devotee and sharing the highest devotional. He's in the mood of Srimati Radharani, feeling the separation of Krishna. Everything is there, described so beautifully. So I have one question. What is that higher knowledge that these people are supposed to be giving us?
Jai.
What is that higher knowledge that they can give us? The thing is, I'll tell you what the thing is. That people who are not getting out of Srila Prabhupada's books is not because the books don't have, it's because they're not proper disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and therefore they cannot be blessed to enter into the contents of those books. But everything is there. Through those books, one can enter into the spiritual world, 100%. But if you want to read something more complicated, more intricate, then it's because they're not fit, and they won't find it anywhere else. Because actually, Srila Prabhupada is Shakya Vaishavatar, coming in the line of disciplic succession of the Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya, and one has to, actually all advancement in spiritual life is by the blessings of the spiritual master. The spiritual master has to be a self-realized soul who is an eternal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has an intimate relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is always absorbed in ecstatic love of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if we make with him a heart-to-heart relationship, we can learn from him what is love of Krishna. And no one else can give this knowledge. No one else. Because without having that connection with Krishna, they can't share it with anybody. It's not a question of logic or concepts. It's a question of it has to be a fact that that relationship must be there. So who else? But how do we know? Look what Srila Prabhupada has done in this world. And no one has done anything else there. Those Babajis are sitting in Vrindavan talking about giving something else, and they have done nothing. So just envious rascals, that's all. So I'm trying to address your question, and if you perhaps that's a little bit helpful. But nobody should be a blind follower. Nobody should be a blind follower, Srila Prabhupada says. So what does that mean? Nobody should be a blind follower. Before a spiritual master accepts a student, he should examine the student. And before a student accepts a spiritual master, he should examine the spiritual master. How do we know whether Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, has a love of God? How do we know? Srila Prabhupada says, you have this bottle of honey. This is water, of course. And you're licking the outside of the bottle, you won't taste the honey. Okay? So what is that honey? That honey means Krishna consciousness, means the joy of Krishna consciousness, means the bliss of Krishna consciousness. So how do we taste that? We can only learn that in the association of a pure devotee who has this love of God. And we have to approach him in all humility and associate him in a serving mood, and then he will share with us his heart, his love for Krishna. So we have to know and make that test. Otherwise, we are another blind follower. Then we know if we have real spiritual master. So we can talk, and talk about these ideas, higher knowledge. Someone can describe this or that, but without actually having that love in their heart, they cannot really share that with anybody else. They cannot share that because they don't have it themselves. So one should acquire this, and one should have, that means a bona fide spiritual master. And then he'll know if he can give him the highest knowledge, and if there's any need for anything else by these rascals who want to give you higher knowledge.
Yes,
So
Prabhu.
we have to find that out for ourselves. But if you want to follow someone like that, you go ahead and see what they can give you.
Indeed, Prabhu, like sometimes there is also this misconception that Srila Prabhupada wanted his disciples or his followers to go and take shelter of some of his god brothers or devotees of Gaudiya Matha or some other groups in order to continue Krishna consciousness. So
Never. There is so much documentation, page after page, letter after letter, and in the books, do not associate with my rascal god brothers. Do not associate with them. It's in his words. It's written. You can find it online again and again, and you can see it in his books. Do not associate with them. There are letters available. I have them on my computer. Do not associate with these people. Envious rascals. And even they're criticizing Srila Prabhupada. They're doing nothing, have done nothing. They are sitting in their little ashrams and we're surrounded by 1 or 2 or 5, whatever. And Srila Prabhupada begged them, help me to distribute this Krishna consciousness to the whole world. And not one of them lifted a finger. But they criticized.
Hmm.
Why? Because he shared Krishna consciousness with the people in other countries, and they are thinking in their caste conscious small minds that Krishna consciousness is only for the people of India. But Lord Chaitanya said, no, for every town and village. Why? Is God Indian?
Yeah,
The God of America and the God of India and the God of London and the God of Paris, they're all the same God. He's Jagannath. You know what Jagannath? Jagat means the universe. And Natha means Lord. He's the Lord of the universe. And those rascals won't let other people into their temple because they come from another country.
Hmm.
These people. So what is their knowledge? They're so small-minded. They're in the material concept of life, and they're going to give you something higher.
like sometimes they also make these claims that Srila Prabhupada gave a oversimplified program of Krishna consciousness for neophyte foreigners, but for Indians we need some higher thing and all these things.
What are those Indians doing with that higher thing?
They are not even following 15 rounds.
Haribol,
They're
Jai.
coming, they want to come to America
Mahaprabhu
because
ki Jai, Haribol.
because we have nicer toilets here.
Haribol. So, Prabhu, I totally agree with Vinayak, Prabhu, what's coming from him because I know what he's talking about. But, Prabhu, there at certain places written by Prabhupada also that if you find someone, if you can find a pure devotee of that level, Mahabhagavat of that level, then you can, join. It's my blessings. It's through my blessings you get that Mahabhagavat to meet you, right? So, what are your points of views on that, Prabhu? Haribol, Prabhu, Ishan, Prabhu, any lights on that? Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Through Srila Prabhupada's blessings, one finds another pure devotee. Is that what you're saying? I'm
Yeah.
not sure
A
what you're-
Mahabhagavat, yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. You got my point. Yeah.
But Srila Prabhupada is not recommending anybody.
Hmm.
Okay. So, Prabhu, you're saying this that we can't change our guru at any moment. If we think that, we can't change our guru. This is what you want to say?
Well, I'm not sure what your what your question is, but the thing is, we have to be, we're only here for a short time.
Yeah.
We mentioned already in this one class, 3 people have died recently.
Yes.
And we're all standing in line.
Yes.
We're all standing in line. It's guaranteed. There's not much in this world that's really guaranteed, but this is guaranteed that we're all going to die. Some at younger, some at older. So we have to, we can examine all these questions, but when we die, whatever our heart is attached to, that's going to determine our next birth. So we have to really be serious that how can I develop my attachment to Krishna?
Krishna. Haribo.
And we can have so many questions. But Srila Prabhupada is here. Srila Prabhupada has given us these methods. Srila Prabhupada is available to us. He's present in his books. He's present in his teachings. And we have to find how we can connect with him in such a way that learn from him what is love of God. It says in Chaitanya Charitamrita how the student develops love for Krishna. He says, Srila Prabhupada writes, and we should all read his book seriously to find out if that's really ABC. Is that just the beginning little teachings, or is that the most profound teachings in the whole universe? We have to read that for ourselves, not listen to what other people have to say. And that there's two kinds of spiritual master. One spiritual master, there's two kinds of instruction. Objective instruction and subjective instruction. What does that mean? Objective instruction means concepts, philosophy. We have to study Bhagavad Gita, understand what is this universe, what is this material world, what am I, why am I suffering, what is my constitutional position, what are the problems of life, and what is the solution, how to go back home, back to Godhead. This is all concepts. Objective instruction. What is subjective instruction? You look up the word subjective in the dictionary. It means feelings. How does a spiritual master give subjective instruction? What are his feelings? His feelings are ecstatic love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can he give that to you? Instruction. It says in the books, our books, that he's absorbed in this meditation, devotional meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart. And if we can come close to him, develop a very close connection, relationship with him, heart to heart, he will share those feelings with us and we will catch them. He says it's like catching COVID. He said that, but he didn't use, he said it's like infection. You become infected with just like you become infected with a disease by having intimate relationship with somebody. By having intimate relationship with Srila Prabhupada in a nice way, we become infected with his devotional feelings. So we can talk philosophy and have so many hundred questions, but are we trying to do that? Otherwise, what is the use of all? If you read Bhagavad Gita purport 434, it says, useless questions, waste of time. The only question is, how can I develop my love for Krishna?
Okay.
So he says, if we're submissive sufficiently in relationship to the pure devotee who has this love, we'll be able to drink it, imbibe it, use that word, and we become enriched with what he shares with us. And that becomes the basis of our sadhana. For his pleasure, we engage like that. And when he sees that we're sincere, he blesses us with more ability to understand. Are we making that experiment, or are we just asking questions?
Hmm.
And why are we wasting our time? We'll die at any moment. And we're having questions. And when the real question is, how can I have this relationship with Krishna's pure devotee? And how can I learn from him? What is this Krishna consciousness? And then, so that before I have to leave this body, that this should be in place in my heart, that if the attachment is there during my lifetime, it will be there when during my dying time too. But if I'm attached to so many other things, so how can that attachment for so many other things be eradicated?
Yeah. Yeah.
When love of Krishna becomes manifest in our heart, the other things will fall away. We'll have no more taste for them.
Here's that wonderful
So-
purport, Ishan Prabhu, 1.5.25. I'll read it so
Yes.
devotees can see. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.25. Pure devotion is as much infectious in a good sense as an infectious disease. A pure devotee is cleared from all kinds of sins. The personality of Godhead is the purest entity, and unless one is equally pure from the infection of material qualities, one cannot become a pure devotee of the Lord. So this raises a question. So Srila Prabhupada being the Uttama Adhikari pure devotee, and we being his so-called aspiring student, if we are also not cleared away from all these kinds of sinful impressions in our hearts, how can we appreciate that? We cannot appreciate it, because here Prabhupada is saying, then he comments, the Bhakti Vedantas, as mentioned above, were pure devotees, and the boy became infected with the qualities of purity by their association and by eating once the remnants of foodstuffs taken by them. So, this is a scientific process. It's not just that we're looking for one guru and then we go look for another guru and then another guru. What will the so-called gurus give you? Here Prabhupada is explaining the whole science in just a few paragraphs. So, and then Prabhupada's comments, such remnants may be taken even without the permission of the pure devotees. Then Prabhupada comments about the pseudo-devotees. There are sometimes...
Yes. Now Srila Prabhupada comments about those other devotees that people are asking questions about.
Yes. Go ahead, Ishan Prabhu.
There are these pseudo-devotees, and one should be very cautious about them. And there are so many things that hinder us from entering devotional service. But by the association of a pure devotee, these obstacles become removed because the neophyte becomes enriched with the transcendental qualities of the pure devotee. This is how we become a devotee. The neophyte devotee, by the association of the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada said a few sentences back that in order to know God, you have to be as pure as God. And there are many things which are obstacles that make us not as pure. But by the association of a real devotee, pure devotee, these obstacles are removed because the neophyte devotee become enriched with the transcendental qualities of the pure devotee. And what does that mean? That means we become attracted for the personality of Godhead's name, his fame, his quality, and his pastimes. We become infected with that. He has that and we don't. We come in touch with him, we catch it. Then he says, what does this mean of infection of the quality of the pure devotee? Infection of the quality of the pure bodhi means you imbibe, means drink. You drink, imbibe the taste of pure devotion, to be always engaged in the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead, to be always engaged in hearing, chanting, remembering the transcendental activities of the pure personality of Godhead. That's what you drink in the from the associate. This transcendental taste. Now he's addressing again what was said earlier, that to associate with the personality of Godhead, you have to be as pure as the personality of Godhead. And this taste at once makes all other material things distasteful. Now you're pure. Therefore, a pure devotee is not at all attracted by this material, by any material activity, nothing he wants in this world. After the elimination of all sins or obstacles, meaning all our other things we were running after on the path, one can become attracted. When you get the taste from him, you can become attracted. People, devotees ask me, when I'm chanting japa, my mind is wandering. What can I do? You don't have the taste. Where are you going to get the taste? You get it from him. And one can have steadiness. One can have perfect taste. One can have transcendental emotions. And at last, one can be situated on the plane of loving service to the Lord. And all of these stages developed by the association of the pure devotee. And that is the understanding, the purport of this shloka, of this stanza. So we have to get serious. We have so many things we want to talk about, but are we doing this? Are we trying to do this? How can we get closer to him to understand? Then, just like Srila Rupa Goswami says, to advance in Krishna consciousness, one has to be enthusiastic and confident. But what does that confidence mean? Confidence means to have the experience that by engaging in this way, my heart is satisfied. Then one becomes confident in the process. So how can one have that confidence? If one has a sense of loving reciprocation with the pure devotee, that satisfies the heart. To do this service, engage in devotional service under his guidance, for his pleasure, then one will have the experience that this is satisfying to my heart. Then he is confident that this otherwise is just a nice idea. Become a devotee, going to the spiritual world, this, that, and the other thing. It's all nice ideas, but how do we know it's real? We know it's real when we have this relationship with Krishna's pure devotee, and he shares this with us. Then we can have this taste. And when we have this taste, then other things we say, to hell with it. It's all lies, all cheating, all to tell me this will help me, this will satisfy me, this will make my life all lies, all cheating. So a serious person, very few people are serious. Very few people. Krishna said, Manusyanam Sahasreshu Bhagavat. Out of thousands and thousands of people, one person wants to know what is perfect.
Yeah.
That is to understand that I'm not this body. I'm trying so hard to make this body comfortable, to make this body famous, to make this body happy, to have nice relationships with others in this body, to have a wife, to have children with this body.
Mm.
Out of thousands, one wants to understand that I'm not this body. And out of thousands of those, one actually reaches that level. And out of understanding, I'm spirit.
Mm.
And out of thousands of those, Krishna says, one becomes a devotee and gets to know me. And how do you do that? Krishna said, Tadbiri pranipatena paraprashnena sevaya. You find somebody who's a real devotee and you surrender your heart to him. This self-realized soul can give you knowledge because he has seen the truth. Tattva darshana. Tattva is the truth. He has darshan of the truth. He sees Krishna at every moment in his heart. Just like having a TV in your heart.
Ishan
He
Prabhu,
has,
we have one question from our devotees online. He asked, can objective instructions be given by devotees who are not Uttama Adhikari? That is-
yes, but that's all they can give.
Hmm.
They can give objective instruction that we need to develop love of God, but they can't give it to you.
Yeah, as Narayan Prabhu used to say, the bhakta who joined 1 week before you can do that, who has been reading Prabhupada's books. So that is
Yeah.
already given by Prabhupada's vast books, you know. So anyone who can read that book and explain it to the next person, they are giving that.
Like Srila Prabhupada said, that the real spiritual master has to be a Mahabhagavata devotee, that he has this intimate relationship with Krishna. He's Krishna's secretary, receptionist. He's the receptionist. You go to see the President of the United States or somebody else, he has a receptionist. You can't go to see the number one man without going through the receptionist. So if you approach somebody, but he has no relationship with the president, how can he introduce you to the president? He has to be empowered and appointed by the president. Then he can make you a connection with the president.
Hmm.
So you can people can sit in their house and say, so-and-so is the president, but they can't connect you with the president. Yeah. So yeah, all of us, including yourself, you can repeat what's in the Bhagavad Gita. We can, but we can't give you love of God if we can only give. You can only give somebody what you have. It's the same thing like that. So therefore, we that's why the process is tattva darshana, to find. Krishna says you find a spiritual master who's a tattva darshi. He has seen. He has the darshan of the absolute truth. He can give you that. That's Krishna's instruction. So other people may have ideas, but that's Krishna's instruction.
Try.
People playing the role guru and they're neophyte devotees. They don't even, they still identify with the body as the self. They're not even liberated. What to speak of being of advanced in devotional service? They're conditioned souls. They can repeat Bhagavad Gita, but they can't. They're not tattva darshana, as Krishna says. But they don't care for what Krishna says. Therefore, they're a rascal. Therefore, they're a rascal
Hmm.
because they're trying to do something that Krishna says, don't do that. First become intimate relationship with Krishna, then you become a spiritual master. That you know Krishna face to face. Tattva darshana. Tatvidi pranipatena paraprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam. He can give you knowledge. Upadekshanti te jnanam. Jnaninas tattva darshana. Because he has seen the truth. So they're playing spiritual master. What is that nonsense? What is that impostorship? What is that? They should be, that spiritual life is for saving people from birth and death, and they're accepting disciples, and that people are going to die again. They're murderers.
Hmm.
Hell is waiting for them.
Yeah, just you mentioned the word tattva darshana. Prabhupada says here, I'll share the screen here so you'll see that he says just similar, tattva darshana. Therefore, a disciple should be careful to accept an Uttama Adhikari as a spiritual master. This is from the Nectar of Instruction, where Srila Prabhupada is giving commentary who can be, what Adhikari can be an actual bona fide guru.
Read a little higher.
Yes.
One should not. One should not.
One should not become,
not
yes, one should not become a spiritual master unless he has attained the platform of Uttama Adhikari. Then Prabhupada gives, says, a neophyte Vaishnava or a Vaishnava situated on the intermediate platform can also accept disciples, but such disciples must be on the same platform, and it should be understood that.
Excuse me.
Yes,
This is Srila Prabhupada's way of talking. But
yeah.
such disciples will remain on the same platform as their teacher.
Hmm.
That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying. It should be understood that they cannot advance very well toward the ultimate goal of life under his insufficient guidance. That should be clear.
Yes.
Therefore, the disciple should be careful to accept, and not these nonsense fools.
Hmm.
Fools. It's such it's an insult to their teacher. They are a living insult to their teacher. That's all they are. They're offensive. They are offenders. They cannot please Krishna because they're offending Krishna's pure devotee. They want his seat.
Yeah.
They want to sit on the Vyasa-san and push Srila Prabhupada off the Vyasa-san. That is their position. Rascals. If one actually believes that Krishna is God, how would one dare to do such a thing? How would one dare to do such a thing?
Joy. Okay, let's see here if there are any more comments. Any more comments from our devotees here? Rupa Manjari, Vinayak, Robert, questions or discussions? Sure. You can also bring up scriptural quotes where we can discuss, like we're discussing. And before that, here, Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada saying here, in this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami advises the devotee to be intelligent enough to distinguish between the Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. The devotee should also know his own position.
Should I jump in?
Yes, Ishan Prabhu. Yes.
If one of these so-called gurus of ISKCON walked into a room and nobody told you that they were a spiritual master, nobody would recognize them as such. Because they're ordinary people.
Yeah.
When Srila Prabhupada walked into a room, people who never saw him before would bow down. Something in their heart would tell them that here is a great transcendental being from the spiritual world, or whatever he is. I have to offer the highest respect. These people, so he says, you have to be intelligent enough to distinguish between what's a third-class devotee, a middle devotee, and a real devotee, Uttama Adhikari. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Yes, the devotee should also know his own position and should not try to imitate a devotee situated on a higher platform. Here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Why? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Yes.
Please continue.
Okay, here. Let's see here. I'll read this paragraph. Sentence.
Yeah.
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given some practical hints to the effect that an Uttama Adhikari Vaishnava can be recognized by his ability to convert many fallen souls to Vaishnavism. Here we go.
Yes, that's the point. That Srila Prabhupada created thousands of disciples, opened 100 more temples,
Temples.
made the whole world chant Hare Krishna. And these other people are saying that he's not giving the real teachings, and they are giving the real teachings, and they're doing nothing like that.
Yeah.
They're doing nothing like that.
Then Prabhupada goes on, one should not become a spiritual master unless he has attained the platform of Uttama Adhikari. There we go. You know, try. So these things are very, very clear. If you have no agenda in life, then to just follow Prabhupada's teachings as it is. If you have some material desire or some agenda to be some sort of great authority, you'll use Srila Prabhupada. One ISKCON guru came here to Sacramento, and he said, we should bring everyone to the shelter of the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Then he said, he was giving an initiation ceremony. Then he said, oh, I am acting as a bona fide guru. You know, then he looked at me and I said, maybe. And then he laughed. So this was this so-called guru. He's saying we should, everyone should preach Krishna consciousness according to their ability, and take people, make them take shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Then he said, I'm acting as a bona fide guru. So this is what they do. They use Srila Prabhupada's great transcendental position to bring these neophytes, or the disciples do. They bring him to these so-called gurus. And under their insufficient guidance, they are given even more
Who was
poisonous
that?
teachings.
Who was that said that?
Oh, this is Bir Krishna when he was here in Sacramento. Remember I showed you that video?
Yeah.
So we see that without Srila Prabhupada's transcendental teachings, these neophytes, they won't even have a position. Like Ishan Prabhu, you mentioned that whenever people saw Srila Prabhupada, they automatically bowed down, or they had some feeling in their heart, oh, such a great personality. But when we look at these gurus, so-called gurus, there's no transformational experience of the heart or anything. So that's a very good point you mentioned.
And also, like Srila, if people are not very bright.
Yes.
I mean, Srila Prabhupada said that one should not take a spiritual master like it as a fad. But people say it's not. It's a very serious thing. People say, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I have this and I have that, and life is really good, and I got a new spiritual master," and such a light thing, and because it's popular, everyone should have a spiritual master, but it's not like that. It's a very, very serious thing. When a person has blockages in the arteries of the heart, he gets what is called a bypass surgery. They open his heart. You go see because it's a matter of life and death. but he can't give you eternal life, but a real spiritual master can. He can save you from millions of dyings. It's so serious. It's not a light thing that, oh, I have a spiritual master. We don't have anything, but we have an opportunity or a chance to come closer to a real devotee, a pure devotee, a Shakta Vaishavatar, an empowered representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have a chance to come close to him. And and otherwise, what is the other option? Either we are, and if we're not, then we're condemned to remain in the cycle of birth and death again. And we don't know what kind of life we'll have next time. Or there's so many problems in this world. Always there. I was born at the end of World War II. They had World War I. People like, look what Putin is doing to the people in the Ukraine. Then you have this virus. What do they call it? The
COVID?
COVID.
Yeah,
Then you have people. There are big storms, tornadoes that are tearing people's houses to pieces. There are floods. There are landslides where whole village is covered with mud. There's volcanoes where whole cities are covered with molten lava. People are burned alive. There are earthquakes and whole cities are swallowed into the earth. And you want to take a birth in this situation again. And so we're really in a very, very terrible, inconvenient position.
Yes.
A very, very, and we have this chance, but we have to become sober and really understand what are the two choices. It's either we advance in our spiritual life or we go back into this terrible, calamitous position again. So we have to become sober and really appreciate and really ask for shelter. You know, we say every morning the devotees, "Ha prabhu koradoya, deho more pada choya." Oh Master, give me the shade of your lotus feet. You know, the prayer. We're begging for having that sense. Another prayer in our book. Please let me be with you. Let me feel your presence in my heart. And what Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, oh, you you enjoy the nectar of the name. When will I hold your lotus feet? Until the end of time. And never letting go, because as soon as we let go, we're under the influence of Maya again, the illusory energy. When will I hold you? And if we hold nicely those lotus feet until he can impart knowledge unto us, because he has seen the truth. Are we coming to that position, or is this something, this is Krishna consciousness? Yeah, I'm a devotee. I do a little of this every day. When will I hold your lotus feet until the end of time? So a person who's serious, they takes that position of wishing he could do that. Because he knows his mind is going left and right, here and there. But he's wishing, when will I be able to do this? He's a real student, a real disciple. And so it's a choice. It's a choice.
Right. Just like to read some quotes here about Srila Prabhupada's on the spiritual master aspect he made. here Prabhupada says, okay, I'll highlight it so people can see online. Here Prabhupada says, this is from, where is this from? 1 second.
Yeah.
This is from Back to Godhead magazine, 1969. Srila Prabhupada says, only when one is inquisitive to understand the spiritual worlds should he accept a spiritual master. Only when one is inquisitive to understand the spiritual worlds should he accept a spiritual master. Otherwise, there is no need. A spiritual master is not a fashion or a fad. One should be very serious and make inquiry and then assimilate the answers. After hearing and assimilating, one should distribute the knowledge to the world. This is the order of Lord of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, so here Srila Prabhupada is saying, to find a spiritual master is not a fad. There's prerequisites to before you accept a spiritual master.
He said, otherwise there's no need means don't waste your time and don't waste my time.
Yeah.
That's what Prabhupada is saying.
Yes, yes.
Don't waste your time and don't waste my time.
Yeah, blind,
I'm here-
absurd inquiries and blind, what is that?
Yeah.
Blind following is not recommended. Absurd questions, right?
Yeah.
What-
Yeah.
chapter, what is that from, chapter 7 or chapter 4?
434.
Yeah, 434, yes. So anyone who's accepting Srila Prabhupada as a spiritual master should be very, very serious about this Krishna consciousness and what he exactly means. So, I mean, I can speak because from my example, because I came to Krishna consciousness not too long ago. So I can see all these things written on the wall. I kind of knew that the gurus were not actually bona fide, many things that were going. But until I really got serious, then Srila Prabhupada, by the mercy of Krishna, I got in association, real association. So I can see that in my practical life, people who are not interested in knowing the truth, they will just kind of hang out here for some time, more or less. And they might not even make any progress. I'm looking at my friends who joined the same time I joined. And I'm saying, our understanding, there's a vast difference between their understanding and my understanding. Now, I was also part of their so-called group at one time, distributing change books, skewed understandings. But now I can see, what a difference it makes, knowing the right teachings and trying to understand it. So Vinayak Prabhu also, he was part of it too. So, somehow or other, Krishna has arranged for this wonderful discussions. Okay. Yes, Vinayak Prabhu.
Indeed, like I was like 1 year, for almost 1 year, I was in association of this Gaudiya Matha. So after associating with Narnar and Prabhu and everybody, I got more faith in Srila Prabhupada. And that time I was also reading the books of Srila Prabhupada, like Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Devotion. And along with the reading, I used to hear the lectures on same verse. So for example, a particular verse I have read, I would hear the lecture on the same verse. And that is the understanding of Bhagavad Gita that we get practically from Prabhupada. So even today, if even non-spiritually speaking, even materially speaking, none of the gurus or none of the person in the world is having such a vast nobody has given such a vast educational resources in terms of Krishna consciousness like Bhagavad Gita, with its word-to-word meanings, translations, purports, along with the lectures and the shlokas. So that is more than enough for anyone who wishes to understand the spiritual matters.
Also, Srila Prabhupada writes again and again in his books that the things I have done, he said, like distributing Krishna consciousness over the whole globe, he said, actually, it's not anything that I've done. He said, nobody can do this unless Krishna empowers them to do that. He said, Krishna has empowered Srila Prabhupada to do the things he's done. And we talk about these things in as serious a way as we can to encourage ourselves, to encourage each other. I'm not talking like this because I'm able to do it very nicely. I want to be able to do it. And by talking and sharing these understandings is part of the process by which we gradually become more and more sincere. So I'm hoping like that. It's not because that I'm in a position to speak so much, but we're trying to understand, and we're trying to become more serious and more sincere, one day at a time. Little.
Yes. Anything else, Rupa? You want to say anything, Vinayak? Or let me see if there's any questions here.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like earlier, also I have read Bhagavad Gita like once or twice, but again, like when we like there is a saying that yasya deva parabhaktes yatha deva tatha guru tasya hite kathita artha. That if we are having firm faith in the spiritual master, only to that person the like the confidential aspects of revealed scriptures are revealed within the heart. So once we accept Srila Prabhupada as an ultimate authority, we can actually understand the books. Otherwise, it's just like licking the honey from outside, just like Prabhu was explaining. Because that's why these scriptures are called as revealed scriptures, because they are revealed within our hearts. We cannot understand, like nowadays there are so many these certifications or courses like Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, this and that is very much famous in ISKCON these days. However, like if we are having firm faith in Prabhupada, only then we are able to understand.
You said only, so that's good.
Yeah, because that's the verse, like tasya te kathita artha prakashayante mahatmana, that only to one who is having firm faith in a spiritual master.
Joy. All right. Anything else, Rupa? Do you want to comment, or we'll end it in a few minutes? I think we have had sufficient discussion. I'd just like to make a comment that if anyone has any questions regarding what they're hearing, please contact me or join the WhatsApp group, and then we can have a discussion. So anytime.
I'm just thinking that it would be nice to expand the amount of people in this group, because Ishan Prabhu is giving such wonderful, inspiring, and educational speeches that I think others would greatly benefit. And I think if people that have taken a bogus guru could hear what he has to say, it might make them think twice about what they're choosing for themselves and their lives on the spiritual platform.
Yeah, two good points, Rupa Manjari. These discussions we've had over the years, since COVID we started, it goes very deep into what Prabhupada is saying, what he wanted for his society, with different senior devotees, if you want to use that word, who were there in 1968 and 1969 and all the way till 2023. So these are historical discussions. Not only that many things, I've watched many of the so-called gurus' lectures. They don't, it's of no substantial value to the aspirant. They think in a collectivist mentality, and their personal feelings about Krishna consciousness, it's put on the sidetrack to promote so-called the bogus gurus and bogus understanding. So Vinayak Prabhu mentioned it briefly that they're coming up with new courses and all these types of distractions. So I mean, yeah, we would want more people to hear, but like Ishan Prabhu, those who have the ears to hear, they will hear. Like Jesus used to say, right, Ishan Prabhu?
Somehow or other, you've given me this opportunity, so I
Mhm.
I take it.
Jai.
But it would be great. But I think that Krishna makes the arrangements, and according to our sincerity, if one is a real devotee, Krishna will put those who are serious in touch with him. So if there aren't very many people coming, etc., I think you know what I'm saying.
Yes,
I
yes,
have
Ishan. Yes. Those who have the ears to hear. Yes.
Well, no, there has to be. It's not just that. It's also as if I'm actually practicing what I'm preaching,
Hmm.
Krishna will send more people. That's what I'm saying.
Jai. Haribol.
I would definitely say that you're practicing what you're preaching. And I just personally want to thank you for putting me on the straight and narrow path, like we really do need to take Srila Prabhupada very seriously and the gift that he gave us very, very, very seriously and follow his instructions, the way he asked us to follow them.
I think, many of us are in positions. I lived in ISKCON temples for 1968, and then 77, Srila Prabhupada departed, and I tried to be part of the movement for a few years more than that. So 12 years, what am I saying? Yes, in the temple, one person was the cook, okay? One person was the bookkeeper. One person was the repairman. One person was the pujari. One person was the distributor of literature. Another person was the Sankirtan leader, take out on the street. Another person maintained the vehicles, and someone else maintained the grounds. But when you're not living in a temple, all of a sudden you have all those jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not so to do that and be a devotee, it becomes much more challenging. That's to do everything perfectly, because you were saying, if we tried to do everything. So then it becomes more a question of the sincerity of our heart rather than our performance. We should try, of course, we have to try our very best to do everything Srila Prabhupada wanted from us. But, a robot can do a lot of things very perfectly if he's programmed right, if it's programmed right. But that doesn't guarantee that he'll make spiritual advancement. So the most important thing is, so we simultaneously try as far as possible to do everything Srila Prabhupada asks us to do, but overriding principle is, because he needs nothing from us, overriding is our heartfelt relationship with him, to try that I want to please him. It's not sort of like a user's manual approach, that if I do like the whole checklist of do's and don'ts, I'll automatically, if I do the whole checklist of do's and don'ts, there will be purification, of course. But that purification bring us to the point where we realize the importance of having a personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada as our savior, so to speak, as our life and soul. And to feel, to learn to be able not to live separate, following, but to live in his association and feeling his presence. How do we feel his presence in our heart? It's so very good question, an important question. The thing is, see, we're all connected to Krishna, but we don't feel. There are people who want to have a relationship, say, with sustainability with the Mother Earth, they call Gaia, things like that. They know that indigenous people have this great sense of feeling, of connection with the earth. How do they have this sense of connection, and that the people who are living in the cities, they aspire, they wish they could have that like the indigenous people have and all that? What gives the sense of connection? There's only one thing that gives the sense of connection, and it's very, very simple. As soon as we have love in our heart, we have a sense of connection. As soon as we have love in our heart, we feel a sense of reciprocation. We feel that sense of connection.
Mm.
So this is very important. That means, I'm not talking about Krishna Prema or Bhava or any such thing. I don't want to even use these words because we're neophyte devotees. But we can still, just like somebody, we have relationships in our families and whatever. So we have feeling of affection. We're capable of that. But the idea is to develop those same feelings in connection with Srila Prabhupada. To want to, just like you live with somebody, you have family members, whatever, you do things, you want to please them. What is love? Love is simply means that you care about the other being's happiness and their well-being without wanting anything in return. You just naturally take pleasure in their happiness. So to be a devotee means that Srila Prabhupada is my spiritual master, so I want to please him. If I have love in my heart, I can feel his presence. It's directly proportionate, directly proportional. As much as we have love in our heart, we can feel his presence and we can feel his pleasure. We know when he's pleased and when he's not. And then we have to bring that into focus in our life. This is a living relationship with, he's the external manifestation of the Lord in the heart. These are very sophisticated words. It means that he's empowered, that he's just like the Lord in the heart knows everything we're thinking and feeling. He's not any different than that. But instead of being in our heart, Krishna has made an external manifestation of that all-pervasive super soul in the form of a spiritual master. And he empowers him to take that position. That we can have a living relationship with him. A child could do that. Children have imaginary friends, you know. They talk to their imaginary friend. Let's go for a walk. Let's eat now. Let's do this. A child can do. If we could be as simple as children and accept that Srila Prabhupada can hear us, feel us, and respond to us, and he's just waiting for our love. He's not hiding from us. Just like Krishna writes Bhagavad Gita. What did you ever receive an invitation to a wedding or some event like that? They send you a card and it says RSVP, right? That means in French, Respondez s'il vous plaît, or something. Please tell us if you're going to attend or if you want to join this meeting. RSVP. Ever hear that? See that kind of thing on an invitation card? Bhagavad Gita is Krishna. He's saying, I'm inviting you to enter into a loving relationship with me. RSVP. It's an invitation. It's a personal invitation. In the same way, Srila Prabhupada's making himself available. And he said, would you like to enter into a living relationship with me? I'll share with you my love for Krishna, my devotional feelings. But we have to get really close to him in order to have that kind of, and try to do, you can wash a dish for Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, you can do the simplest thing in your household everyday duties, but everything is to please him, like he was right there with you. And he is right there with you as much as you're right there with him. That's the whole thing. So, and if we take this attitude and really wish to please him, that's called love. And that's what opens up that sense of connection. And anybody can do that, putting all the bigotry aside.
Prabhu, I have a
Anyone can-
question.
Shoot.
Do you feel Krishna in your heart?
I do. I want to say this, okay? It's not fixed. In other words, I'm forgetful or distracted. Usually I'm distracted by being fruitive, which means I'm doing things in my everyday life. And instead of doing it with a desire to please Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, I get all caught up in how is it going to turn out? Will I be successful or will it be a failure? Will there be gain or will there be loss? This is the mode of passion. And this is our default program. We've been feeling like that for millions of births. So when I get engaged in activities, that's my default program kicks in, and the desire to please Krishna or the desire to please Srila Prabhupada and the desire to please myself, they're mutually exclusive. You can't have them both. So that's what I mean by being distracted. But when I do sadhana, like chanting japa, then even that one can be, even when doing that, mind can go back to his to-do list. Even when chanting japa, one can think, I have to call so-and-so, or I have to, when I go to town, I should pick up. So, but when doing sadhana like that, it's much easier for me. And I have very, very nice sadhana. And I remind myself that before I do sadhana, that I want to have cultivate my relationship with Srila Prabhupada. I have to soften my heart and let go of everything else. I have to, there's a very close relationship between love and happiness. A person who's loving, very loving to others, is usually very happy in their heart. And a person who's very happy, it's very easy for them to feel loving. We have to really lighten up. We really have to feel good. We have to feel good to be a devotee. It's that Srila, like Srila Prabhupada said, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na sochati na kankshati. Not hankering after anything. I have to do this, I have to get that. I want this, I want that. Not kankshati, not lamenting over what happened, the way they treated me, the way this happened, the way that happened. Forgetting all that. How can one do that? Prasanatma. If they're joyful within their heart, they can let go of all these concerns. Why? Because they're already satisfied within their heart. So Krishna actually says in Bhagavad Gita 17:17, 15, 16, 17, that if you take this, he calls it mana prasada, which Srila Prabhupada translates it in two ways. In the verse one way, in the word for word another way. In the word for word, he calls it satisfaction of the mind. And in the verse, he calls it serenity.
Serenity.
Serenity. Those are the words in our Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna says, if you can do this, not for your own peace of mind, but for my pleasure. He says that's the austerity, quote, the austerity of the mind in the mode of goodness, quote unquote. Just to practice feeling serenity and when peaceful within, so that all other concerns other concerns means that we're not peaceful within and we're looking for our peace in all these other ways, the future and the past. The future and the past. We're looking, but as soon as we're satisfied within, then one becomes self-controlled. He's not controlled by determination. He's controlled because he's satisfied, so he doesn't care for anything else. So that one has to cultivate himself in that way. Then his heart becomes open. Then you can. What your question is? Then when you think of, if you have the capacity to feel loving because you're not taking care of yourself. You have you're already rich, so you have something to share. When you think of Krishna or Srila Prabhupada, you feel good in yourself. You're not this mind, you're spirit soul. So this is the beginning. It develops. If it's cultured more, it turns into the Brahma Bhuta platform.
Okay, Prabhu, it's time to wrap it up.
Okay, I'm wrapping just a sec because I want to get to the punchline, your question. So when you get like that, as soon as you think of Srila Prabhupada or Krishna, they become present to you.
Right.
So
And
always,
that's what we have to do. We have to cultivate this space within our heart. And anyone can do it. It's called the mode of goodness, which develops into a liberated platform of consciousness. And at that, Krishna says, Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. When we get there, you can be a devotee, he said.
Right.
So I'm working on it.
Hmm.
And that's what keeps me going. And I think, when will I continue to do this more instead of being so fruitive and concerned about the future and the past? Does that make sense? A little bit?
all right. Are we done for the night?
Okay.
Yes, we're done, Rupa Manjari Prabhu.
Okay, great.
So we'll read Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.23 next week,
Okay.
and then we'll continue the discussion. And if anyone has any questions or comments regarding the discussion tonight, please send us a message via email or post a message online, and we'll try to address that question or concern.
And it's my 40th
Rupa.
birthday tomorrow.
Oh, it's your 40th birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Rupa Manjari Prabhu.
Happy
Thank-
birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Thank you.
I usually forget my birthday. Did my answer make any sense to you, Prabhu?
To me?
Rupa? Yeah.
Yes, sort of. I kind of,
You understand what I'm talking about? A little bit.
let's take a couple more minutes just to get it clear.
Yes, sure. Yes, Rupa, go ahead.
Thank
Okay.
you, Vinayak.
This is not in the book.
Okay.
The Krishna consciousness is based on the assumption that that everyone has the capacity to love. It's based on that assumption, but people don't know how to love. And that's why the Krishna consciousness is a mystery to them, and they remain dry, because it's all about receiving reciprocation.
Right.
But you receive reciprocation if you don't have this love in your heart. So the whole thing is based on the ability to be in the Brahminical platform, where at least one. Okay, so think of this, okay? This is not in any book of Srila Prabhupada's. Think of the happiest moment you ever had in your life. And you do this as an exercise when we're not online. And feel that event. Remember that event and feel it as if you're living it today. Or the most loving person you ever met, whose love is so sweet, and feel that presence in your heart. Feel that happiness. And then forget about the memory that caused it, and just sit and feel that happiness. And you'll notice that all of your cares will evaporate.
Yeah.
Your
Like in
to-do
kirtan.
list will be out the window. Yeah. And there will be no more bad memories, nothing. In that state of mind, one can feel loving. And whoever you think of, the love will flow to them. And if you think of Krishna or Srila Prabhupada, their love, it's just that the heart has to be cleared out of all this other nonsense.
So do you
we
think
have
that when we just think about Krishna and Srila Prabhupada, that they're in our heart then?
to the degree they're in our heart, but we want to feel their presence and their love and we want to feel reciprocation is what we want to feel more than anything else from both of them. So they give us, they reciprocate with us as much as we're giving to them. To get that taste, we have to be in that position of otherwise we can just think of them. Yes, they're there and they're purifying. Yes, they're there, but we want more than that. We want to feel their love, their reciprocation, because because when we feel that, that's everything. We don't need anything else. And we say, let me stay in. When will I have the good sense to stay in this position? So, and that's called Krishna consciousness. It's a loving exchange between ourselves and Krishna's representative and Krishna. That's Krishna consciousness. That's why the devotee is free, because he's having a higher taste. And that's where the taste comes from. When we can, and we don't have to be advanced to do that. It has nothing to do with being advanced. But because there are very loving people in this world, but they don't know where to put their love. So they want to save the dogs and cats or the earth or
that's a very good point.
or whatever, and they give their whole life to the happiness of others. That's what love is. Just the desire to please, but they don't know where to put that desire. So we know where to put the desire, but we know what is the real object of love, but we're crippled emotionally. We don't know how to open our heart. But if we can do that, we're going to get immediate response, because that's the whole formula. That as much as Krishna even says, as they approach me, I reciprocate everybody.
Okay, I'm ready to go to bed now.
Sweet.
All right,
dreams.
Rupa, you can exit. I just want to share some things with Ishan Prabhu. So
Okay.
thank you, Rupa, for attending. Happy birthday from the devotees online, Edwin, Aristo, and everyone else. So I sent you a
Thank you
capture
so
of it.
much. It's so kind of all of you. I really appreciate it.
Chai.
Okay,
Oh my
thank you
God.
so much, Ishan Prabhu, for your answers. I appreciated what you said.
Chai. Okay, Rupa, take
Hare
care. Hare Krishna. Okay, Ishan Prabhu, now the nectar is coming here. Can you read this? I think it will, you mentioned some of these points without actually hinting or quoting Srila Prabhupada, but Prabhupada quotes it here, so I looked it up. So maybe you can explain here.
Should I read it?
Yes, Prabhu,
Or
yes.
should I read it out loud?
Yes, read it out loud.
I can't read it in Hindi, but
Yes, but the English part.
everyone has prema, love, and this propensity to love others. That is, there is everywhere, but the prema, that love, is originally for Krishna. Nitya Siddha Krishna Bhakti. That's the original prema, but because we're illusion, that prema is being applied or used for so many Maya. Prema, I have got my love. That it's a fact, but I do not know where to repose that love. That is my misfortune. You got to send me this the link, Prabhu, because I'm collecting these, because people don't believe it. They believe that we don't have it, and that it's going to be added to us as a bonus, as a benediction one day. And
Mm.
Srila Prabhupada said, no, you have it. We have it. We just don't know where to put it.
Mm.
And that the same love that we feel for our dog or cat, not that I'm into dogs and cats, if we applied that to Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, that would be wonderful. But people feel so distant, or they're thinking, it's a user's manual. If I follow the instructions, I'll get a result. But it's not about that. That's not really what it's at. But there are, Srila Prabhupada does make a point in the books that I just wrote something down the other day, that even if a person doesn't, two things, even if a person doesn't have devotion, a devotional feeling, simply by doing our practices, they'll feel an alleviation of anxiety.
Mm.
Just by chanting Hare Krishna, japa for an hour or something, the worries will evaporate. But as soon as he stops, then again his mind gets caught up because he doesn't have that emotional attachment. The other thing, what was the other thing? Oh yes, I read, it's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that if a person does sadhana bhakti 100% perfect, they can go to Krishna Loka. No, they can go to Vaikuntha, but they can't go to Krishna Loka. Because to go to Krishna Loka, one needs to be in the emotional feelings, what we call rasa, in relation to Krishna. And you can't do that just by doing sadhana bhakti perfectly. You have to get that from having a relationship with a pure devotee. and so where I'm going, we're reading. It'll come back to me. I wanted to say something, but I go off on a tangent. But yeah, that we all have this love. We do. And it's not a question of just doing everything we're supposed to do to get it. We have it. And we have to, if we apply it in the right direction, then we get the reciprocation, and then we get the more blessings like that. It's a personal thing. So, but there's a great consensus of opinion amongst devotees that we don't have love, and that if we do all these things perfectly, one day we'll be blessed with love. But it doesn't work that way, according to my understanding of our philosophy. Like Srila Prabhupada says, we have it. We just don't know where to put it. And we don't know that, just like that, what I was talking with Rupa Manjari Prabhu about, to feel this serenity in the heart, just to sit and feel serenity in the heart. When there's I don't know how other people feel this, what it's like, but it's so simple, and it can be very, very profound. As soon as one feels serene inside and totally satisfied in their mind, one is self-fulfilled. One has to be self-fulfilled before they can feel devotional. Because if they're not feeling self-fulfilled, their mind will be looking in the past and the future for where can I find fulfillment? Where can I find my peace? Where can I feel complete? I'm looking, the mind will do that.
Hmm.
But and you can't stop it. But as soon as one feels fulfilled within themselves, inner peace, and that's the first quality of the qualities of a Brahmin. Samo,
Yeah.
1842, I think. The first one is that he's peaceful. From that comes self-control. Because he's not hankering for things. Doesn't have to hold himself back from all the things that he's not supposed to or whatever. Because he's full, he has it all. He's full in himself. And at that point, he can focus on transcendental subject matter. And and he can be devotional. A person who's hankering for things and upset about things, he can be devotional because he's hankering about something material and upset, So it's like, so Rupa's asking, like, do you ever feel connected? I think she was asking, do you ever feel connected? As much as I'm in that neutral state, the sense of connection, it's like, it's hard to explain because it's so subtle, but sometimes, for instance, I'm in that state of mind and I'm chanting the holy name and I'm thinking, I got a list of ways that I chant the holy name to remind myself. You can do it like this with frame of mind. You can do it like this. You can do it. They're all very nice. But one of them is to meditate or contemplate the fact that Radha and Krishna are present in that sound vibration. Because they are. And you can feel it as much as you feel it. So I'm chanting the sound vibration and I'm embracing the sound. I'm hugging it to my heart and I'm saying, thank you. Thank you for letting me be with you. Imagine having the chance to be with Krishna. Here we are in this material world, so far away from Krishna. And he's saying that he's present in his holy name. And if we chant it, we can be in his presence. This is amazing. It's amazing. Or we just have to keep thinking of it, contemplating, and you say, I'm actually in their presence. And then it feels so nice. Or like I tell you, like, yeah, should I go get my list? I have a list of different things that I do. And then I share that with Srila Prabhupada. I say, Srila Prabhupada, Krishna is present in his name, and we're chanting the holy name. And thank you for it's like, it's up to us. But somebody say, oh, you're kidding yourself. You're imagining, you're making it up. But no, but Srila Prabhupada says, no, when Krishna's in your mind, he's in your mind. When Krishna's in your mind, he's in your mind. Or you just say, I'm in my picture. Srila Prabhupada says, yeah. He says, if you're with me, I'm with you. It's like, it's transcendental. It's so, but people think, I don't know. Srila Prabhupada says it's just a matter of understanding and accepting. You know that phrase?
Yes.
Krishna. So acceptance means not conceptual. It means take it as a reality. Be joyful about it. The fact that, as Srila Prabhupada says, okay, if you're not happy, really joyful about this thing, it's not going to work. Because joyful means you're accepting it. And your realization is Your acceptance is your realization. It's not that the acceptance gets realization. Your acceptance is your realization. That's called non-linear thinking in today's jargon. Not that one thing begets another. You're not on board. When you get on board, you're on board. It's
Yes.
and, but it's a matter of consciousness of, and I don't know how to share that so well. I mean, how do you tell the person? Because on the one hand, it speaks for itself. On the other hand, other people can't grasp it.
Just like
Period.
just like everyone is a spirit soul, and no one has an idea of how to act like it or behave like one. So this love is also what's it called, intrinsic to the soul, but it's inconceivable. At least it seems like it.
But we don't. Like it's not something like people already feel it. People feel it. I've seen people. I shouldn't talk like this. I've seen people kiss their dogs. I've seen people hug their cats. They have feeling. I've seen people hug each other. People have such strong feelings of affection. What? But Srila Prabhupada's a person, but he's a transcendental person. So time and space
Doesn't matter.
are irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Yeah.
And so if one has that feeling, to that degree, they'll feel reciprocation. Then wow, that's really nice, because his love is nicer than anybody else's.
Sure.
I mean, that's the way I feel when I connect with Srila Prabhupada. His love is more beautiful than anybody's love that I've ever met in my life. He's just glowing. He's just brimming. He's just softly emanating. Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite Avidya. And we were reading that it says that when he gives you that taste, the other things become distasteful.
Sure.
From him, ecstatic prema emanates by him. That's how ignorance is destroyed. Now, but to get that is not, one doesn't have to be advanced. It has nothing to do with being advanced. A person could do that in a day, in a week. If he has the understanding and the acceptance that this is available and acts on it, he can have that in his first week of Krishna consciousness, and he can be, he can be way beyond any of us. It has nothing to do with advancement. It has to do with understanding that it's available and it's real, and accepting that it is. And if we really accept it, we'll grab it, we'll go for it. You know what I'm saying. I think you know what I'm saying, don't you?
Yes, a little bit. I've been practicing, so.
But it's not a complicated thing.
It's not. Yes.
And it's not. Srila Prabhupada says it's simple for the simple.
Yes.
So simple. So it's like if we can be just like children and just accept it and embrace it. Acceptance means, understanding and accepting. I take it as understanding and embracing that understanding.
Shy.
Oh, there, that it's real, but to get that feeling in the heart, that's the WD-40 that opens the door. No, really, no, it's the thing that makes it. We get the response as much as we feel the affection for him. we
Right.
get the response. And am I talking too much or too long? You can
No.
tell me.
We can go on for maybe 10, 15 more minutes. No problem.
that's, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
But it's so hard to share that with anybody. It's not that I'm highly established in it. I told you, I confess immediately that I'm always forgetful, but when I go back, he's there. And I say, I think, when will I be able to live this way? That's what my thing is. When will I know it's real? When will I be able to live this way? And you know what, as far as I understand our books, all of the revelation or blessings come to a person who can live this way without any interruption, without any break. I think there are verses like that in the beginning of the Bhagavatam. And it's in we have to, if we can have this relationship fixed, that's what he said, fixed up. What does fixed up mean? You know, it means this board is attached to the other because I used wood glue and some screws. They're fixed. It's fixed. He says, so if we're fixed up in our relationship with Srila Prabhupada, maybe we need some wood glue, you know, in our heart. When we're fixed, then he really blesses us.
Right.
So I'm getting these little tastes that makes me want more and makes me wish I could be more intelligent and more fixed. I pray for that. I say, please, what does it take? How can I have the intelligence to stay in relationship with you? How can I have that? Now,
Right.
I never met another devotee who talks the way I'm talking. Seems like they think that it's something you do. You're following a process, and one day you're going to get some revelation or something. But it's not the activities so much as the content. It's not the forms, it's the content. And that's not, a child can do that. You don't need a big brain to do that. And you don't, and even in that Tesham Satata Yuktanam verse in Gita, to those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, constant. I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, even if a person doesn't understand all of philosophy very well, but if they can do this, really trying, Krishna will give them all knowledge from within their heart.
Right.
But people actually go on year after year, day after day, week after month, year after year, doing, because they believe it's good. They believe they want to, and they want to be devotees. But this ingredient in the formula or in the recipe, they don't get that part. And that's the whole thing. Because what if I'm paralyzed and I can't do puja? I can't offer incense. I can't do this. I can't bow down. I can't. Or if what if I'm in prison and I can't get a spiritual master? I can't distribute books. What if this? What if that? But if my heart is there, it's transcendental. Has nothing to do with time and place and circumstance or anything. So, wow, you're the only person I can talk to like this. Or I could say, well, we're both crazy. But I don't think so. No, I'm talking to you like a person, I've been trying to be real, not official or anything. You're the only person I can talk to like this. People are afraid to hear these things. They want to change the subject, or just like Rupa was right here. She asked me the question. I tried to give her the best of my heart. And she said, well, it's time to go to bed. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
It's
yes.
like one thing is,
There's a
no, I don't
blockage.
want, no, but if you tell them, I got to do something. It's like something, it's hard for people. And some of them get upset, like,
Yes, yes.
well, what are you talking, you're this, or you're pretending you're this or you're that. I know what I am. I'm a fool. I'm always, I'm always distracted by this or that, or thinking I got to fix this or improve that. If we had a shelf here, I don't know, I'll go to town, make my to-do list, and I'll get these things. I have a notepad in front of me here with the things to get in. But a real devotee, rarely, many of them, like they're described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya, Srivas Thakur, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda,
Yes.
Sri Advaita, I like Acharya, Srivas Adi Gorba. He's Lord Chaitanya, he's a householder, Srivas. He's got responsibilities. I don't know if I read it in Chaitanya Charitamrita or in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. But Lord Chaitanya asked Srivas, he said, you're not something
Concerned.
like you're not taking care of your household. He says, I'm thinking about you, and I'm doing kirtan, and I'm engaged in devotional activities. And if you don't take care of me, that's fine with me. I'll go down. I'll be a disaster, disgrace, and I'll be, and my whole, everything will be ruined. And that's your department. I just want to be a devotee. Imagine me. Well, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. But even, I tell you, I got a wife. I'm not even married. I've been with her for 25 years. What do I need somebody's piece of paper for? But the thing is, I don't care if I see her or not. She's in Mexico now for a month. But she's so attached to me, and she's had different kinds of emotional problems in her life before, and big history. She says, if I lost you, I wouldn't want to live. I can't go. I don't care. I don't care if she never comes back. I don't care if she falls in love with somebody. I don't care anything. Or I don't care if she kicks me out of the house. But I can't walk away. You know what I mean? I can't walk away. So I just can't do that to another person. I know it's Maya, but I can't do it. So I don't know why I got into this, but anyway, the real thing is how to soften our hearts so that we become that's the cover charge. You know what a cover charge is? You ever use that phrase?
No,
When
what does it mean?
when I was a kid, 18, 20, we go to a nightclub. You have to pay a certain charge just to get in. It's called a cover charge.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And you can dance, you can relate, you can all nonsense. So, but there's a charge just to get in. So the cover charge to be a devotee, we got to open up. We got to learn how to soften, and there are other disciplines. You're not supposed to talk about that. That they get very upset. That Buddhists, not all, there are different lineages, but Theravada, right, they have meditation practices for developing what they call loving kindness. And it goes in stages. First, you feel love for yourself. May I be well and happy. May I be peaceful. May this, that, the other thing. I don't know it all. And then when you feel like, then you start to extend it to your people that you're close to. And then you extend it to people who are neutral. And then you extend it to your enemies.
Well,
you just, and they practice this as a daily thing. In different traditions, they practice how to bring that loving feeling into focus in their heart. That's their whole practice. They don't know where they don't know what is the real object of their love. They're atheists. But they know how to bring that thing. Devotees know the real object, but they don't know how to bring that into focus. So much so that if you talk to them about it, they think you're pretending, that it's not possible. It doesn't exist. It's so strange. And you can't talk about it because it's not in the books. Prabhupada Bani. But so I'm saying, so that when Srila Prabhupada teaches Krishna consciousness, the assumption is that we know how to do that, that we're capable to do that. That's the assumption when giving spiritual life, when giving Krishna consciousness. What are you getting from them? You already have the ability to love, like that quote you had, and you have to send me you have to send me the link. You already have that, but what is the spiritual master doing? He's telling you where the love should be directed. So that's the cover charge. You have to have that before you can do any of become a devotee. So, but it seems like the assumption is that we already know how to do that, and he's telling us where it should go. It should go towards the spiritual master who will share love of Krishna with us, and it should go towards Krishna. But the assumption is that we know we have that, but most don't. And they say, I have a friend of mine who was the vice president of the temple in Vancouver, and he said, this doesn't work for me.
The mechanical process. He was doing it mechanically, right?
He was dressing the deities, beautiful deity,
Wow.
and doing it very nicely. He was chanting japa. He was doing everything he's supposed to do. It didn't work for him. It's dry. So
Hmm.
no taste, no taste. So, but the taste is, but he was he had a very unfortunate upbringing, and he was very closed down, a very cynical person.
Hmm.
And Srila Prabhupada says that women are, on the one hand, he says, they're more attached to material life and they're not very intelligent spiritually. This, but he also says that it's easier for them to be a bhakta
Hmm.
because they have soft heart.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And the men, they're all up here.
The head. Yes.
They're not here.
The heart. Yes.
You know what? Let me get this. Where is this list? Let me get this list.
He's on fire.
Coming back. Here's a list. According to Chinese medicine, you know what acupuncture is, eh?
Yes. Needles. And
Yeah. You know what you've heard of meridians?
no.
That word
No. I've heard of the
It-
word. Yes. Yes. Meridians.
means the different energy channels
Yes.
in the body.
Yes.
When the
Yes.
needle is getting a jump start, every organ in the body is got a certain supply of energy, okay?
Hmm. Yes. Ishan
And-
Prabhu, can you put your camera a little bit down so half of your mouth is not covered? Or can you?
Oh, that's okay. You
There
want
we
to see
go.
my beautiful face?
Well, sometimes you're speaking and okay, go ahead. Yes, Ishan Prabhu. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it says that each organ in the body is serviced by, you can get maps, even online you can find maps of the meridians. Even on YouTube you can see they make animated so that you can see the energy moving, and it's very complex,
Hmm.
but there are major channels.
Okay.
Anyway, if the lung, each organ has a certain psychological or emotional facet.
Okay.
If the energy in the lungs is not running properly, one feels sadness and grief, and they
Hmm.
can't get out of it. But if the lungs energy is working well, they feel kindness. It's a natural attribute. And all it is the way your energy is moving in the body.
Hmm.
If the large intestine, the energy moving, is not working so well, there's a kind of emotional stagnation, inability to let go of relationships that don't serve us, things like that. And if the energy to the large intestine, they call it like prana.
Hmm.
You've heard the word.
Yes, prana.
Or,
Yes.
or chi is the same thing. Prana or chi, or there must be different words in different cultures. But if the energy to the large intestine is working nicely, one has an ability to let go, and they have feel a smoothness of release, like going to the bathroom.
Mm.
And they flush out the sadness, and what's left is a kind of kindness in that's the, so then there's this spleen and pancreas. A person that doesn't have good energy in the spleen and pancreas, they always worry. They're worried about it, always worried. But a person who has good energy to the spleen and pancreas, they're energetic, confident, good self-esteem, have an active lifestyle, and they embrace new ideas and projects with a sense of positive expectation. Everything's going to, the other one's worrying about it, can't do anything. They procrastinate. So every organ, there's the stomach, there's the small intestine, there's the heart, there's the urinary bladder, kidneys, the the pericardium, rather. It's a thing that's around the heart. And then there's the whole fascia system and the gallbladder and the liver. They all have a psychological component, an emotional component. When these things are not working right, the organ is affected, and there's a disorder, like the liver's not working or the kidneys are not working. At the same time, that you get that emotional content that goes with that organ is not working. So anyway, a couple of years ago, I took up this practice, Qigong, learning to move in ways that make the energy flow. And when they teach you this thing, because I got books on it and I've taken some classes online, they teach you this thing. You know what they say? And this is Chinese medicine. And now he says, smile from the heart. That's before. So like the idea, and the meridian that runs through the heart is called the emperor meridian. If that's, all the other things will come into balance if you heart. So it doesn't matter. And they're learning to do this. So by doing the exercises, it makes things flow nicely in the body so you can feel loving. And by loving, it makes things flow nicely in the body. It's like you were saying, not that one thing causes another, you're either on, but, like we say, if you become a pure devotee, you automatically develop the Brahminical qualities without and by developing the Brahminical qualities, you can become a devotee. It's like that. You can hit it from both sides. Anyway, when I do these exercises, Prabhu, I get stoned. No, I feel so, it's like the body's like an instrument. And it's just, before you play if you don't tune the instrument up and you play a guitar and you don't tune it, everything sounds wrong. No matter how perfectly you try and do it, you play the fretboard and all that, but if it's not in tune, and the same with this, that's all it is. That's all it is. The thing is, the damn thing is, we are trying to be devotees, but we're doing it through this hardware and software. And we got to tune it so that it can be on the same level. Remember, like we read tonight in 525. To associate with God, you have to be as pure as God. You remember?
Yes.
We have to be away from all these concerns and aspirations and ambitions and resentments and this and that. And just we got to be in love. And then we're on the same, then we can resonate. We can resonate. The love is present. Krishna is always everywhere. Krishna is everywhere. There's nowhere he's not. And we can't feel him because we don't resonate. But as soon as we tune the machine, you don't have to do those things to some one way or another to become manaprasada, inner serenity, satisfaction.
Right.
Taking satisfaction in the self. What does he call it? Prasanatma.
Brahmabhuta
Prabhupada.
Prasantatma. Yes.
Joyful within the heart, just feeling good. He said, you got to be there before you can feel my presence.
Hmm.
You can resonate with it. Well, it doesn't matter how you get there, but you got to get there. And people are thinking, I don't know what they're thinking, but it seems like they're thinking, if I do this stuff really well with grim and control myself with grim determination to keep the principles and not break the four prohibitions and do this, one day I'm going to be, they're missing the point. It's because you don't have to do all that to soften the heart. If you soften the heart, the whole thing is available to you. I mean, all of a sudden, the whole thing, the reciprocation is there. You say, wow, this is great. I like this. I want more of it. Then, as Srila Prabhupada once said, he said, you have seen this? No, he did that. Like he's shooting up heroin or something. He said, you have seen this? I was alone with him in his room. Krishna consciousness is like that, he said. So he was making joke, but you get but to get hooked, there has to be a taste that we like and we want more, and that's all it is.
Right.
That's all it is to get the taste. It's a reciprocation of love. That's all it is. And all we have to do is open our heart, and it will happen. Like I say, love has no sense of direction and no discrimination. That's why, we say the one who sees the dog and the dog eater all the same, and the elephant and the sage, he sees them all the same. Pandita Samadar. Yeah, he sees them all. When there's love in the heart, it doesn't matter what you see. It's not that the external things evoke the love in you, and this does and this doesn't. When there's love in the heart, it just flows to anything that comes to mind, whether it's yourself or the world. It's just like that. So then if you put Krishna in your consciousness, it flows there. You put Srila Prabhupada in your consciousness, it flows there. Yeah, so we don't have to be advanced. There's no advanced means that if one can be like we're describing, then there's a relationship between the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and ourselves. We're always trying to please him, because we like to please him, because we like his company. He's the greatest person to be with, and it feels so nice. As one does it more, then he gives blessings that we should have more understanding. And as we have more understanding, we want to be with him more. And because we want to be with him more and we love him, he's pleased. And then he blesses us more. So it just keeps growing. But we can start from where we are.
Mm.
You know, and when there's no, so one can become advanced in that way. You know, there's so many stages of Krishna consciousness. One of the first stages is that we become liberated from identification with this body. Wow, imagine that. And that's only a beginning stage in Krishna consciousness. Imagine how neophyte we all are.
Prabhupada says, Brahma Bhuta Prasantatma, that's where devotional service starts, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when.
So, but it's not like a mystery that we're waiting for. When will it happen? It's something we can cultivate.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's 1854 Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, but 1851 to 53 is all the ways we should be in order to bring that Brahma Bhuta platform into focus. Okay, you follow what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
Now, but how can do though? If you read them, they sound austere. But if a person is practicing or cultivating inner peace, they're all simple. They're all simple. Is because he's controlling the mind. The mind wants to run to the things it wants, and it wants to hate the things it hates. Attraction and repulsion. But if one is satisfied and has peace in the serenity in the heart and just feels good, you don't have to control any. There's no problem to be controlled. Nothing is pulling the mind because it's already got everything it wants. So then he can do all those things that are described in 51 to 53.
Right.
They're, not eating too much, doing this, controlling the senses, giving up anger, They're all listed.
The checklist.
But and he says, if you do this really nicely, you come to the Brahma Bhuta platform. But how do you do that nicely? By being to the degree that is possible in our present, to be just completely satisfied within ourselves, just feeling good, feeling happiness, feeling love, not towards anybody, just feel loving, just feel really sweet, really like everything's okay. And that enables one to act in all those ways. And it deepens. It deepens. The more we do it, it deepens. And then it turns into what they call Brahma Bhuta platform, where one starts to feel themselves as spirit soul, because the spirit soul is always full and complete and self-satisfied. And so then, okay.
So one can raise a question that Srila Prabhupada came to the West and then preached this Krishna consciousness movement, and these devotees who took up Krishna consciousness, were they at this? They had some sort of glimpse into this, or just because by following Srila Prabhupada's instruction, they automatically came to the Brahma Bhuta stage, as much as they could follow sincerely, or
they very, 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 very rare. There were a couple of devotees. Jayananda is mentioned, And there was one devotee called Vishnu Jana. I don't
Yes.
know if you've ever.
I've heard of him. Yes.
I live with him, okay, in Texas, and he made me president of the Austin Temple,
Hmm.
and he was he felt it very beautiful. He loved it, Krishna consciousness. I have a friend who was a Hell's Angel. I don't know if I mentioned him to you. He used to ride a motorcycle, and he was like a Hell's Angel. And he would go into a bar and brawl and lay out 10, 15 guys.
Wow.
He's very strong. And he had a terrible upbringing. His father abused him sexually and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And he was the worst person in the world. A real troublemaker.
Hmm.
He would look for fights, and he could fight. He's very strong. But the police caught him finally. I forget what they were after him for, and they cornered him in the forest, and they shot him through the heart. He has to have a heart now, and the other half is like mechanical. It was an experiment that they put into his heart.
Wow.
So
He's alive
but
in the body.
yeah, but he had an out-of-body experience. He
Wow.
was out for like some 54 hours or something. And he had experiences, and he came back. They didn't expect him to live, but he lived. And he was told when he was out of his body, go back and do this work, spiritual work. It was how he went through different things when he came back. Prabhu, he can't go to any temple because they think he's so weird and wild. But he chants nonstop. He can't give up chanting. And he loves to chant. He chants at the top of his lungs, and he sings at the top of his lungs, and he can't carry a tune. There are people like that. And he'll go into the supermarkets and be chanting Hare Krishna. And he'll tell the cashier, here, see this mantra? Chant this. Your life will be sublime. And he's so excited and happy about it that they believe him.
Wow. Infectious disease. Okay.
So the thing is, because you were asking about, when Srila Prabhupada came.
Hmm.
Srila Prabhupada explains that past lives, everybody comes into this life with different experience. And
Yes.
some people, when they get introduced to this, and others, very. So we all have different, but very few of us, as I look at all these people, Prabhu, the people who became the gurus were the most quote unquote senior, the most responsible, the most, and
Yes.
the first ones were the ones that had the most association daily with Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
They were his managers and his sannyasis and GBC men and all of that. And they never understood who Srila Prabhupada is, what to speak of. All they had was, but they had, by their karma, they were more intelligent and in management, and they had leadership abilities and all that. But they're not devotees. I
Yes.
mean, they're devoted, but and so very few of them amounted to anything. The odd one. Very few had actually what you would call, wow, they loved this stuff. I never, when I was in the ones who had they'd stand with their sannyas rods and sticks and during in Mongol Arctic, and they wouldn't move or anything. They wouldn't get in kirtan. They were just waiting for it to be finished so they could go back to their desk or whatever. They didn't have much of a taste for it. They were managers, and very, very few. I know I was married to one woman. About, I don't know, 93. So that's about 80. So 82. That was about 40 years ago.
But this was when you joined Hansadura back that time?
I think I don't have a good chronological sense what comes first.
Okay.
But I think after Hansadura. Anyway, she was a pujari, and she ran away from home when she was a kid, like 14, like 15,
Yes.
and joined a temple. And she had already been having some very far out mystical experiences and stuff like that. And then, you know what Kundalini is? You ever hear that?
I've heard of it, but I've never investigated. No. Yes.
Energy of the
Yes.
spine.
Yes. Yes.
She had a spontaneous awakening of this. She wasn't trying, and she started to have past life memories, and she became allergic to things. She was living with an oxygen tube in her mouth, and her body was all upset, and but when she would chant Hare Krishna, she'd just be sitting there, and she'd be so blissed out. She loved it. She loved it. Other people are saying, how do I control my mind? It's like people are all in different places. They don't all start from the same place.
Yes. Yes. I've noticed. Yes.
So, like one person told me, I said, boy, you're really doing well. He said, some of us hit the ground running. Like you get out of the plane and your feet are, when you hit the ground, you just keep moving. Some people are there's, I know one guy, he received it. He got an incense package and it said chant this mantra on it. So he started chanting the mantra, and he really loved it. He had no connection with the devotees or the books. And then he met some devotees and they said, you're not supposed to be out there on your own. You're supposed to come and live with us. He said, okay. But he was happy, just chanting Hare Krishna. People are all different,
Yes.
Anyway, but the most important thing, if I want to say anything, is that I write things down for myself. I say, love is a choice. Happiness is a choice. It's within our power. We can cultivate these things, just like doing push-ups. You get stronger by doing. And it's the same thing with developing and this is what the mode of goodness, as far as I understand, the whole business of the mode of goodness is to come to this point where we begin to get past attraction and repulsion because we're satisfied within ourselves. That's what it is. The qualities of the Brahman. The first one is peacefulness. He's peaceful within his heart. He's not practicing peacefulness to be a good person. I should be like this. He's peaceful. He feels good within himself. That's the Brahminical platform. And that's why Srila Prabhupada wants us to come to that platform so that we can take up devotional service, because as long as we're in passion and ignorance, it's very, very difficult, almost impossible to have devotional feelings.
So this
So,
passion and
yeah.
passion and ignorance, that is the enemy to devotional service.
It's like mutually exclusive. When a person, because passion means that I have no connection with God and that I identify with the body and the senses and the mind. And I have the conviction in my heart that I can become fulfilled by satisfying my senses and by satisfying my sense of my false ego by having prestige and power over others and fame and fortune and social position recognition and sense gratification, gross sense gratification. That conviction is so strong in a person in the mode of passion. He can't be any. It's completely different from service. It's serving this stuff. It wants to be satisfied. He's thinking I can become fulfilled. Not thinking, he's feeling that he can be by serving his senses and his false ego, and that's what passion does to a person. And he has no power to get. And whereas, so he's serving, but he's not serving Krishna. He's serving that. He's serving that whole
box.
and he can't do anything else. And not only that, he gets frustrated because not everything works out.
Yes.
And he gets angry. And then he's in the mode of ignorance. He's all upset. So so passion degrades to, Krishna said, that is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So this self-centered, he calls it kama, lust. So the mode of goodness, a person naturally feels that who's really in goodness, he takes pleasure in the well-being and happiness of others. He wants to do good things for other people, for the earth, for this, for that cause, for open a hospital, open a school, feed the poor, put clothes on people. He's not doing it because he thinks he should. He likes to do it.
He likes to do it, yeah. Natural.
It makes him feel good. It's totally different from a me first. The people in passion, they're all in competition. They want to be number one. So everyone's their enemy. Especially the other people who are doing well.
Mm.
So, so whereas a person in goodness, it just enjoys takes pleasure in the happiness and well-being of others. He likes that, and he tries to contribute to that. So that's a loving propensity. So if we come to goodness and we have that, that's a serving mood. It's totally in contradiction to the passionate mood or the me first mood. Totally in what are all these wars about on the planet? It's these guys in the mode of passion,
Mm.
and they're going to increase their holdings and their
Mhm.
take over that country, and they're fighting. So, but as a totally in contradiction to the mode of, the mode of goodness, a person comes and becomes a doctor, and he joins this organization, Doctors Without Borders, and they go to different places in the world where people really need help, and they're in the mode of goodness. So they want to help. They enjoy that. But the two of them are back to back. They're mutually exclusive. But the person in goodness who already has a serving mood, see, the person in passion has an exploitive mood. Person wants to exploit everything and everybody.
Yeah.
Everything. The person in goodness will even put himself second and be a little austere in order to help. So if the person in goodness can meet a real devotee, a pure devotee, he can explain to him, you got the serving mood, but you got to understand what you're supposed to serve.
Yes.
So
yes,
then it's
yes,
easy for him to become a devotee,
yes,
because he
yes.
already likes to serve.
Right. He's already conditioned and living in that mood.
Yeah, so he just has to get get it straight where that serving mood is supposed to be applied.
Yes.
But
Jai.
a devotee who's still in passion and ignorance, he can't get into that because he's too caught up. He can't keep the principles, the regular, it's too strong. What releases a person from that degradation is a higher taste.
Yes. Yes.
It's not that we have to be so strong and determined
A
to
higher
do anything.
taste. Yes. Mm.
Yeah. And the higher taste comes when we can open our heart, and then the reciprocation. And yeah, it's like having a best friend, except your best friend who makes you feel really nice to be with and all. But your best friend is a transcendental person. It's not like you can see him. You don't have to see him. He doesn't even have to be on the planet.
Jai.
And that's where the taste comes from. And I guess at a certain point we can have a relationship with Krishna, but as far as I can understand, at this stage and for a very long, many stages, our whole relationship is with our spiritual master. Of course, he's always telling us about Krishna and telling us to learn about Krishna, but even that we do in his association. Say you read the Krishna book and you're reading about one of Krishna's pastimes, but you're with Srila Prabhupada and you're reading it together, or you're sharing it with him. And he gives you, he shares his, he gives you he's the transparent via media to see God. You've heard that expression.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, you're seeing Krishna through his eyes, but more properly, you're seeing Krishna through his heart.
Jai. Hmm.
So you're engaging in reading about Krishna and remembering Krishna, but he gives you the ability to really remember in the right way and to really hear about Krishna in the right way. He's the transparent body of media. So that's I think that's where we're at. And I don't know how long it goes on like that before we come to the point of it's not a matter of time, it's a matter of, our sincerity and desire. Our relationship is with him.
Hmm.
But like I wanted to say, if that's as far as I ever get, if I could do that nicely,
Jai.
if I, my computer says low battery, I gotta put in the wire. If I could do that nicely and just always be with Srila Prabhupada, that would be more than enough for me.
Jai.
I don't care. I don't care. And I tell you the truth. And even if he wanted to send me back here or somewhere else, if I could be like that with him, everything's okay. Everything's okay. So yeah. But and I'm not advanced, Prabhu. I'm a turkey. I'm just another guy, caught up in his little world. That's all. I'm not but I believe this is real. And that's the difference between blind following. He doesn't want us to be blind following. He wants us to know that this really works. and that's the way we know. But coming back, we can experience him as much as we open our heart to him.
Jai.
I chant. One of the ways I chant japa, have a beautiful picture of Srila Prabhupada, and I like garland him with the sound vibration of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. See, as soon as I think about it, it breaks me up. It's sweet. I can feel his presence. He loves it. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
Prabhu.
I try and chant for him, and I
Yes.
give it to him as like my gift to him, the holy name, and he shares his happiness with me. I can feel it, and that's my consciousness becomes his or rather his consciousness becomes my consciousness. We read it, we become infected with the stuff. You become infected with, you get the taste from him. That it's right there, it's you can't sell it, you can't give it away for free. And most people, especially non-devotees, don't know what you're talking about, but the devotees, they don't want to hear about it. But it's for real. He's Hare Krishna, Krishna. You just want to hug him. You just want to hug him. You say, "What? Please give me the intelligence to stay in your association." And he said, "You're supposed to practice Krishna consciousness in the association of a pure devotee. You're supposed to practice Krishna consciousness under the direction or guidance of a pure devotee. It's on every page.
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
So, but they insert, but they read it, but hear it differently.
yes.
Uh, so,
So, so my question
think-
to you is that you've these things you've been talking about. This is a new realization, or has it been with you for many, many years? I know you joined 1968, but we're not, and you've been reading and chanting and all this, but
I've had little hints of understanding or thinking that that's what I'm supposed to do.
mm,
I used to do japa in front of the Vyasa-san, doing obeisances repeatedly,
mm,
and it would feel good. But I didn't know how to open my heart. That's in the last few years I've learned. I've been so, did I ever hear the expression, I've been down so long, it feels like up to me or something like that? It means that wherever we are, we're all so different. Our psychological being is all so
yes,
different that we think that the way we are is reality, and we have no idea what it's like to be something else.
yes,
We be so much lower, degraded, and hateful, and we can be so much loving and everything. So I had no idea how to open my heart like that.
mm,
And somehow, I don't know how, but in the last 3-4 years, maybe 5, I started intermittently to get hints that I could just sit and feel inner peace. I'm not talking about devotional service,
mm,
but I knew that I had the capacity to feel peace within myself that made the whole world go away and felt good.
mm,
Somehow or other, I started to bring that into Krishna consciousness. And when relating to Srila Prabhupada, I can see his picture in my mind, I can see his face, and from that place of total inner peace, he comes alive
mm,
in my mind, in my heart, or whatever you want. All of a sudden, he's glowing. And I could feel his love. It's like we read tonight. To associate with God, you gotta be as clean as God.
yes,
Feel his presence. You have to be on a spiritual platform, at least liberated from the material stuff. And that was very nice. And then I start to work with it and work on it, cultivate, but forget for a week, forget for a month, and then, oh yeah. And then now it's every day. I gotta have it.
mm,
I gotta have it or I become frightened. I say, I don't want to lose it. I know that when I'm not there, it's because I'm not purposely cultivating, and I feel like he'll take it away because I'm not being serious enough, and I don't want to lose it because it's all I got. I mean, I can't explain to you exactly, but I've never been a very happy person.
mm,
Really, a tortured soul. So I don't know, everybody lives with their own mind, and it's hard to know, but you know a lot of if you go online every week, people are going into McDonald's or something and having a mass shooting.
oh yes, yes,
People are having divorces and fighting about the assets and hating each other to death and having lawyers and people are committing suicide. There's suicides all over the planet. Thousands of people are killing themselves. So when I was a kid, I mean, 20 years old or so, I thought of submitting myself to an insane asylum. But I was afraid maybe they won't let me out, so I didn't do it. I just, I didn't know how to, I didn't know how to access what I'm talking about myself. I was doing LSD and marijuana and sex and just experimenting with all, just doing everything that's wrong, everything that's bad, everything. So because I had no guidance, and I was very hurt emotionally. I grew up in a house where I got pretty browbeaten and all of that stuff, and I couldn't satisfy my parents. They wanted me to be a certain way, and I couldn't do it, and it drove them crazy. I mean, really, it was terrible. And then to run out and be free and do all these crazy things. So I always felt not good enough and felt unqualified, and I felt, you know, you grow up in a certain way. I anticipated rejection because I felt that way as a child. And it's my whole relationship with the world, you know. But it's getting better and better, you know. But so I really wanted to be when I heard of Krishna consciousness, and I was raised in an atheistic environment that they hated religion, my parents, and told me that it was all nonsense. So it had never occurred to me that spirituality was real. And I don't know why I'm saying all this stuff. It's not very important, but all I mean to say is that I found something now. It's like Kinchana Gochara is a phrase in the Bhagavatam. It means made Srila Prabhupada materially exhausted. In other words, you've tried everything and you just can't make it work, and you can't find any satisfaction. Like the Rolling Stones had a song, "Can't Get No Satisfaction." Yeah, it seems like that's a really good impetus for taking up spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada says you have to be materially exhausted to really want to be a devotee.
Yes, he says pessimistic. Yes, he uses the word one must be pessimistic about material life to make advancement.
So I was a tortured soul I don't know how to put it on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, yeah, it's you can't actually, because people have different experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I really, for me,
Try.
you know, the thought of going back into the cycle of birth and death, and I don't mind if I could be a devotee, if I could have a nice relationship with Srila Prabhupada. I don't care where I get sent, but I don't want to get lost again like that. You know, you know, like I'm alone. My wife is in Mexico for a month, and I'm in the woods. There's no lights, there's no streets, there's no sidewalks, there's no nothing. Just a stream in front of the house, 50 feet away.
Wow.
And I can hear it from the porch, That's it. That's it. And a few animals, they come around. And where am I going with that? Oh,
You're
I
alone.
don't know. I love it. People, they say that because of COVID, people, because of COVID, hey, there's nobody else online, is there? I see on the bottom of the page it says Vinayak and Robert Barron.
Yes.
I'm here, Prabhu.
I'm here.
Oh, no kidding. You're not supposed to. So I'm alone, So Hare Krishna, Prabhus. I'm alone. I'm completely satisfied.
Right.
During COVID, the suicide rates went up. You know why? Because people were in lockdown. They couldn't socialize. They couldn't socialize. So I don't have any friends. I don't have any desire to have friends. I never socialize. People, so it's a waste of time. I mean, if people were having a reading of our books or chanting Hare Krishna, yeah, that would be very nice. But otherwise, who wants to be with people? They're crazy. They just want distraction, and they're exploiting you because you're their distraction for the moment, and until they find something else, and they can't give you anything. So it's just so. But I'm happy because I have my altar. I read my books. Before I go to bed. I read my books when I wake up. I have something now. And like I say, every day is another opportunity to get closer to Srila Prabhupada, feel his presence, and thank him, and just feel him, just feel his Krishna consciousness. Sometimes I meditate when I'm doing japa. We're both doing japa together, but we're doing it in the mood like of Haridas Thakur. We're spreading that sound vibration through the whole universe, and it's for I don't know, uplifting in some purifying the whole cosmos. And Srila Prabhupada, it just lights up. He loved that. He loves it when we take that mood. He wants to care about everyone. He wants it. That's who he is. What does he want to be in the material world for? He has a relationship with Krishna, but he comes here is only to this horrible place of birth and death, disease and wars and everything else. And he comes here just because he wants to help everybody be Krishna conscious. He wants to take us out of here if he can. And so he loves it when he wants us to have that attitude, that how can we give this wonderful Krishna consciousness to other people? So when I chant in that mood, it makes him light up like that. He just loves it when we adopt these nice moods like that. So I don't know. And I'm just hopeful, that just by associating with him on a daily basis, that I'm being gradually purified, and I can become a devotee one day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I know that I have so much other stuff going on.
Yeah.
I have no desire for being with a woman. Not at all. I don't care. It's just an entanglement. It's just like, it's the worst of the worst. It's just got to, like, now I still live with my wife because she says she can't bear the thought of living without me. So I can't turn my back on her and walk away.
Yes.
But I have no need for that. Yeah, my whole life, it has to be modified. Is that we have to eat breakfast at this time. We have to do this now, and we do this and we do this. I say, okay, play the game, to keep peace in the house. But I'm alone. I might not eat till 2:00 when I wake up, because it doesn't occur to me. I have other things on my mind. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I don't. I just
Yeah.
want to be. Every day, it's an opportunity to get close to Srila Prabhupada, and I try and remember while I'm doing other things, like I'm out on the land, digging a ditch or moving some firewood or what have you, or cutting firewood. Do this and keep chanting and try and feel Srila Prabhupada's presence. I'm trying to bring that into place and become strong in that way. I can do it during sadhana, be with Srila Prabhupada. It's the only thing that makes sadhana tasty, is being with Srila Prabhupada and myself. But while doing things that's like karma yoga, it's like, that's to do everything. I say, how would I put the firewood into the wheelbarrow to bring back to the house? How do you do that in a way that Srila Prabhupada would enjoy it? I lift up and place this piece of wood so that Srila Prabhupada will smile and say, yeah, like that. Well, I'm working on it, because I want, but it's slowly coming, little. It's these things seem to take time. Some people might be really fast, but if I could say anything that's of any value at all, that's the whole thing. That's Srila Prabhupada, our connection with Srila Prabhupada. That's everything. If we can have that, everything else will work itself out. Everything else will work.
Right. Connection with Srila Prabhupada, everything else would work out. Hare Krishna.
Everything. Yeah. And
Right.
Hare Krishna. Thanks
So-
for letting me talk.
So Vinayak Prabhu, Robert, and myself, some devotees expressed appreciation for Ishan Prabhu's insights to Krishna consciousness on YouTube. So they'd like to thank you, Ishan Prabhu. They commented, what did he say? They said, "Go Ishan, you are helping us tonight with your knowledge and wisdom." Yeah. Right. So
Who's Robert Barron?
he's a devotee in California here, not too far away from here. So he's been
You know him?
yes, yeah, yes. So he's asking relevant questions according to his position he's situated in. So he's part of the group discussion. So and he hears Prabhupada's classes. I sent him some original books he's reading, and then I'm trying to encourage him. Yes, Prabhu.
Will you send? Are you hearing from Robert?
Yes, yes, Ishan Prabhu, will you send what? What you're saying?
Well, well, will you send me that quote? Do you
Sure.
remember what was the content? Oh, yeah, that we have this love.
Yes, yes, that.
I want that. I want that. I'm building a file, like that. We have this love and we use it now. It's not doing all this stuff and one day it'll be given to us. We got. But I think the people who are heavily into passion and ignorance can't feel that.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. I've been also thinking to myself that people who have been not treated properly as living beings, they also cannot understand these things unless they it's going to take them a while, and most of us have been traumatized by our previous life, our family, people have betrayed us, so all these things come into our life. We think about these things every day, how he betrayed me, how he said this. So it's
that, and when we're little, it hurts. So if we close our feeling capacity, we can survive.
Yes.
And it enables us to survive in a social context while we're growing up. But in terms of Krishna consciousness, it's the worst thing that we're closed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
so that like a person like Srila Prabhupada describes how he grew up.
Oh yeah.
How his father was so loving and so kind and so indulging and
yes.
that.
Yes. We forget that. I mean, so
what
I said we forget that Prabhupada was living in this Krishna conscious environment from the beginning, and he was never held back. His mother had some idea of him becoming a great personality, but his father wanted him to just be a pure devotee. So
yeah.
and he says these things. So
my mother told me that my father cried because I had become a Hare Krishna. That she would see at night tears.
Oh wow!
My son.
Tears of joy.
No. Actually, he said, because I was wearing tilak. He said, "Why you put that pigeon shit on your forehead?"
Actually, it reminds me of a story. Narayan Prabhu said his mother and father, they were separated for 40 years, and then when the Rath Yatra happened in 1970, his father made the horses. And when the mother saw the horses, he said, "Who has designed these ugly looking horses?" Narayan Prabhu said, "My father did." And then the mother came and fixed the horses with color and this and that. So he saw that as their opportunity to serve Srila Prabhupada, this Rath Yatra cart. So it was very wonderful. He's describing this, Yeah. So
that's a story.
Yeah. So and then his brother was. Go ahead.
What are the chances?
Yeah.
The odds of such a thing. She asked him about the horses, and his father had made the horses. And they hadn't seen each other in 40 years.
Yeah. So this was very interesting, and Narayan Prabhu's brother was also a devotee. So the whole family.
Oh
yeah. Yes, Mukunlal was his brother's name. They joined in 1968. So very interesting that how their lives took place. Narayan Prabhu was a great outsider to ISKCON. They tried to take his position as a Prabhupada disciple away from the Prabhupada disciples book.
Really? Why?
because of his propagating, Prabhupada never appointed you people to be so-called gurus. And then he was for the original books, and then he lived right in Los Angeles where everything was happening since the 70s. So, but he had a wonderful passing away. His daughter and son, they did the whole ceremony, and they talked about the father's activities, the whole wonderful memories that they have had. So this was very interesting when you said about your father and mother. I mean, your father becoming, becoming teary-eyed. So I wanted to share that.
Both of them, my father was on his deathbed, and I was living in Los Angeles Temple. For a week he was in the hospital dying, but they didn't contact me. So I was never there. And then I wasn't there when my mother died either. And I never went to a funeral in my life. I live here in the forest, so I thought, I'll just dig some, grave holes for my wife and myself, and when we die, they can just put the body in there and finish. People make a ceremony out of these things. It's a cultural thing. Costs about $10,000 to have a funeral today.
Yes, yeah.
A box costs about $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah, right.
That's good. And then the services and all of that. So it's all silly for nothing. Here we are.
Okay, Ishan Prabhu, thank you very much for your wonderful insights, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. We would like to thank our viewers for watching. We've been on for 7, 8, 9, 10, 3 hours and 52 minutes, I think. Yeah. So,
You'll be sure and send me that quote and where it comes from?
yes, I'll send you that quote right after this meeting is over. And then we'll read 1/5/23 next Sunday, and we'll start 7 o'clock as usual. Jai Prabhu, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. How come you don't put your video on, Robert?
Oh, it's just I rather not right now. Maybe in the future I will.
Okay, not no pressure or anything. Just like to say hello. And,
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Does Robert have a devotee name?
No, I don't.
Well, that's all right. This it's all a question of where your heart is at, and Krishna will. I'm sure that Krishna will. He knows how you feel, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Jai. All
I
right.
believe that.
Okay, thank you, Ishan Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. See everyone next week. Hare Krishna.